Production by Liang Gu, The Romance of the West Chamber, was created by Wang Shifu in the Yuan Dynasty. The first book, Wedge, pretending to be an old lady. My surname is Zheng, my husband's surname is Cui. I was a minister of the former dynasty, but unfortunately I died of illness. He only gave birth to a little girl, named Yingying, who is 19 years old. A female needleworker, a poet, a mathematician, there is nothing she can't do. When the old husband was in Japan, he promised his nephew, Zheng Heng, the eldest son of Zheng Shangshu, to be his wife. Because my children's father has not yet died, they have not yet been married. There is also a little girl who has been waiting on children since she was a child. Call me a matchmaker. A young boy, called Huanlong. After my late husband passed away, I and the girl carried the coffin to Bowling for burial. However, they were unable to go because of obstacles on the road. Come to Hezhong Mansion and leave the coffin in Pujiu Temple. This temple was built by my late husband, the Prime Minister, and it was the incense courtyard of Empress Sitian. Moreover, Elder Jayanthaban was also the monk who was ordained by my husband, so I settled down in this house in the West Wing. I wrote a book and sent it to the capital. Call Zheng Heng to help him return to Bowling. I think my late husband is here, my husband is here before the eclipse, and I have hundreds of followers. Today's closest relatives are these 3 or 4, it's so sad and touching. Call Zheng Heng to help him return to Bowling. I think my late husband is here, my husband is here before the eclipse, and I have hundreds of followers. Today's closest relatives are these 3 or 4, it's so sad and touching. Xian Lu, when admiring flowers, the husband, the master of the capital, died, and his son, mother, and widow were left alone and poor. Therefore, the traveler is in the Brahma Palace. I can't wait to see the old tomb of Bowling, where blood and tears will be sprinkled red with cuckoos. The weather in late spring today is so good that people are in need, so I can't help but call the matchmaker to come out and pay for him. Where is the matchmaker? Liao pretends to be Hong Jinka, Mrs. Yun. Look, no one is burning incense in the Buddhist temple. Come back and have some fun with the lady. Hong Yun, I will strictly follow my orders. Exit Madam, Hong Yun, Miss, please come. Enter dressing up as Yingying. Hong Yun, Madam brought me and my sister back to play in the Buddhist temple. Come back and have some fun with the lady. Hong Yun, I will strictly follow my orders. Exit Madam, Hong Yun, Miss, please come. Enter dressing up as Yingying. Hong Yun, Madam brought me and my sister back to play in the Buddhist temple. Dancing, Yuppian, but it is a person worthy of the end of spring, Gajundong. The door is heavily closed in the Shao temple, the flowers are falling and the water is red. I am filled with sorrows and have no words to complain about the east wind. Bottom and below, the first book, the first fold. At the end of the story, he pretends to be Zhang Xing on horseback to lead his servant to the door. Xiaoxing's surname is Zhang, his given name is Gong, his courtesy name is Juanrui, and he is from Shilua. The ancestors paid homage to the Minister of Rights. Unfortunately, he died of illness in his 50s. His mother died a year later. Xiaoxing's riding sword is in the air, his fame has not been achieved, and he is traveling around the world. That is, in early February of the 17th year of Zhenyuan, Emperor Dizong of the Tang Dynasty came to the throne. He wanted to go to the Shang Dynasty to receive support, and passed by Hezhong Mansion. There is an old friend in Puguan. His surname is Du, whose given name is Junshi. He and Xiaoxing were classmates in the same county, and they were friends for 8 worshippers. His surname is Du, whose given name is Junshi. He and Shaoxing were classmates in the same county, and they were friends for 8 worshippers. Later, he abandoned literature and turned to martial arts, and won the first prize in the martial arts examination. He was appointed Marshal of the West and commanded an army of 100,000 to guard Puguan. Shaoxing only looked up to his elder brother, but went to the capital to seek advancement. I secretly think about the snow table under the window, scraped and polished, and full of articles after learning, but it is still drifting in the lake and sea. When will I achieve my great ambition? A sword of 10,000 gold hides the autumn water, and a horse full of spring sorrow weighs on its embroidered saddle. Xianludian Jianglip traveling in the central plains, the heels are wireless and spinning. Looking at the sky, the sun is approaching and Chang'an is far away. Hanjianglong, according to the poems and books, the silverfish seems to have no trouble studying it. Keep the thorns around to keep them warm, and wear the iron inkstone through. Looking at the sky, the sun is approaching and Chang'an is far away. Hanjianglong, according to the poems and books, the silverfish seems to have no trouble studying it. Keep the thorns around to keep them warm, and wear the iron inkstone through. I traveled 90,000 miles to Diyun, and suffered from the snowy window and fireflies for 20 years. It is difficult for people with great talent to become ordinary people. Sometimes a good boy fails to fulfill his wishes. It is made of hollow carvings and seals, and is decorated with fragments of broken bamboo slips. During the journey, we arrived at Pujin early. There are 9 bends in the Yellow River, and this is the place in ancient Hanoi. Sometimes a good boy fails to fulfill his wishes. It is made of hollow carvings and seals, and is decorated with fragments of broken bamboo slips. During the journey, we arrived at Pujin early. There are 9 bends in the Yellow River, and this is the place in ancient Hanoi. You should be optimistic about the situation. You gourd, wherever the wind and waves of the 9 curves appear, it is except here. This river leads Chiliang, divides the Qin and Jin dynasties, and has narrow passes. Snow waves beat in the sky, and autumn clouds roll in the sky. Bamboo cable pontoon bridges, and dragons croak on the water. It breaks through Kyushu from east to west, and connects hundreds of rivers from north to south. How can I see if it's time to return to the boat? But it's like an arrow suddenly leaving the string. This river leads Chiliang, divides the Qin and Jin dynasties, and has narrow passes. Snow waves beat in the sky, and autumn clouds roll in the sky. Bamboo cable pontoon bridges, and dragons croak on the water. It breaks through Kyushu from east to west, and I just suspect that the Milky Way has fallen into the sky, the abyss, springs, and clouds are hanging outside, and you can't leave without passing through it when entering the East Ocean. It nourishes thousands of flowers in Luoyang, nourishes thousands of hectares of fields in Liangyuan, and even reaches the sun and moon. Arrive in the city early. There is a shop here, and the piano boy picks up the horse. Where is the shop boy? The waiter goes up to the cloud. I am the second waiter in this number 1 store. Officials are going to leave. I have a clean shop here. Mo Yun, in the first room, whoever wants to win over the horse first. Second brother, come here, let me ask you, what is the leisure time here? Famous mountains and scenic spots, blessed places and treasure houses are all available. Shao'eryun, I have a temple here, called Rapujia Temple, which is the incense courtyard of Queen Zetian. Its construction is extraordinary, the glazed hall is close to the blue sky, and the stupa goes straight into Yunnan. Famous mountains and scenic spots, blessed places and treasure houses are all available. Shao'eryun, I have a temple here, called Rapujia Temple, which is the incense courtyard of Queen Zetian. Its construction is extraordinary, the glazed hall is close to the blue sky, and the stupa goes straight into Yunnan. Traveling from south to north, there are 3 religions and 9 streams, and everyone who passes by looks up to them. Except there is a place where gentlemen can play. Mo Yun, Chin Tong's material is ready for lunch. I went there for a walk and then came back. Pu Yun, arrangements were made for dinner, horses were prepared, and they waited for my brother to come home. Bottom, Fa Tsong, Part 1, Little Monk Fa Tsong. He is a disciple of the Patriarch of Pujo Temple. Master went to the temple today and kept me in the temple, but those who visited the elders would remember to wait until Master comes back to report. He stood at the mountain gate to see who was coming. Moshanjian, but he came early. See you. Song asked, where did the guest officer come from? Mo Yun, Shaoxing Shilua came here and heard that the temple was elegant and refreshing. First he came to pay homage to the Buddha statue and secondly he came to pay homage to the elder. May I ask if the elder is here? Song Yun, my master is not in the temple, but the poor monk disciple Fakong is. Mr. Abbot, please have tea. Mo Yun, since the elder is not here, there is no need to have tea. I dare to bother the monk to introduce him to you and pay my respects. I am very lucky. Song Yun, the young monk, took the key and opened the Buddhist hall, bell tower, Arhat hall, Xiangji kitchen, and lingered for a while. Master dared to come back. Do medical examination. Mo Yun, the building is well built. Village drums. After rejoicing at the Buddhist temple above, we arrived at the monastery below early. Walk past the kitchen and approach the west. Here is the Dharma hall, in front of the bell tower. I visited the bridal chamber, climbed the pagoda, and walked around the corridors. Mo Yun, the building is well built. Village drums. After rejoicing at the Buddhist temple above, we arrived at the monastery below early. Walk past the kitchen and approach the west. Here is the Dharma hall, in front of the bell tower. I visited the bridal chamber, climbed the pagoda, and walked around the corridors. Counted arhats and visited bodhisattvas. Worshipped the saints. Ying leads the matchmaker to pick up a flower branch and go up to the clouds. Matchmaker, I'm going to play in the Buddhist temple. Finally, see the subject, yeah. He is colliding with the injustice caused by the romantic industry 500 years ago. Yuan He Ling, I have seen thousands of people, but I have rarely seen Pang Er who is such a happy mother. Then it is dazzling and confusing, and the soul is flying in the sky for a long time. In his place, everyone is teasing, who is single, with their fragrant shoulders, only smiling at the flowers. Shang Ma Jiao, this is the Tushita Palace, don't guess its Lihension. Ah, who wants to meet gods in the temple? I see that he should be angry, he should be happy with the spring breeze, and he should be biased and stick to the green flowers. Shengord, then you can see his palace-like eyebrows with crescent moon, diagonally invading the temples. Dan Yun, matchmaker, you look at me, the monk's room is so lonely that no one is here, and the moss lining the steps is full of red flowers. Moyun. I'm going to die. Before I said anything, I was shy, the cherries were red and the jade was white, and I spoke in dialect for a long time. Yuppian, just like the chirping of orioles outside the flowers, one step is pitiful. Jia Wu's waist is delicate and soft, all graceful and alluring. Like a weeping willow before the evening breeze. Hong Yun, there is someone on that wall, let's come and go. Looking back at Moxia, Moyun, monk, how come Guanyin appears? Song Yun, stop talking nonsense. This is the lady of Chui Xianghua of Hezhong Prefecture. Mo Yun, there are such women in the world. Isn't it the beauty of the sky and the beauty of the country? Not to mention that appearance, those little feet are worth 100 of gold. Song Yun, so far away, he is on that wall and you are on this wall, wearing a long skirt. How do you know his feet? Isn't it the beauty of the sky and the beauty of the country? Not to mention that appearance, those little feet are worth 100 of gold. Song Yun, so far away, he is on that wall and you are on this wall, wearing a long skirt. How do you know his feet? Mo Yun, Fa Song, come, you ask me how I will know. You look at it. Back garden flower, if it were not lined with residual red and its fragrant path is soft, how could it appear to be as light as the fragrance of dust? Don't worry about the corners of your eyes, because these footsteps will convey your thoughts. Slowly and slowly, I threw it in front of Kongmaner, just one step away. The face-to-face meeting just now shocked Zhang Jiyuan. It's like a fairy returning to the cave sky, with willow smoke remaining in the sky, only the birds can noisy. Lu Yi'er, the door is hidden behind the pear blossoms in the deep courtyard, and the pink wall is as high as the blue sky. I hate the face-to-face meeting just now shocked Zhang Jiyuan. It's like a fairy returning to the cave sky, with willow smoke remaining in the sky, only the birds can noisy. Lu Yi'er, the door is hidden behind the pear blossoms in the deep courtyard, and the pink wall is as high as the blue sky. I hate the sky, it doesn't make things convenient for me, and it's hard for me to enjoy myself. The key is how to stay. Miss, are you so unattractive? Song Yin don't cause trouble, the lady who opened the mansion in Hezhong has gone far away. Last singing, parasite grass, the orchid musk is still there, and the sound of wearing the ring is fading away. The east wind sways the weeping poplar lines. The hairspring touches the peach blossoms, and the bead curtain hides the hibiscus face. Your path is to the home of the Prime Minister of Keifu in the middle of the river, and my path is to the appearance of the moon Guanyin in the South Sea. I haven't seen the king for 10 years, but I believe that Changwan misunderstood the person. It's okay for the young student not to go to the capital to take the exam. Look at Song Yun. Dare to bother the monk and tell the elder, I have borrowed half of the monk's room. I can review scriptures and history in the morning and evening. It is better than staying in a hotel with too much clutter. The house fee will be paid according to the rules, and Shaoxing will come tomorrow. Earning evil hungry eyes are about to pierce through the greedy mouth and swallow empty. And dare to bother the monk and tell the elder, I have borrowed half of the monk's room. I can review scriptures and history in the morning and evening. It is better than staying in a hotel with too much clutter. The house fee will be paid according to the rules, and Shaoxing will come tomorrow. How can I expect him to look at you before he leaves? Shudao is a niche student, and even a tough guy wants to be affectionate. Near the pavilion, flowers and willows are blooming, and the shadow of the tower is round at noon. Spring is in front of us, but the beauty is missing, and a Brahma palace is suspected to be Bilingual. Bottom. The first book, the second fold. Madam Shangbai, the day before yesterday, the elder sent the money to do good deeds with my old husband, but there was no reply. Tao and matchmaker, pass on my words to ask the elder, when can I do good deeds with my husband? Just let him take care of things and get back to me. Bottom, Jing Po Jia top, the old monk Dharma Ben is an elder in this Pujiu temple. Just let him take care of things and get back to me. Bottom, Jing Po Jia top, the old monk Dharma Ben is an elder in this Pujiu temple. This temple was built by Queen Zetian, but later collapsed and was rebuilt by Cui Xianghua. Now Mrs. Cui is leading her family members to support the coffin back to Bowling. Due to road obstruction, he temporarily stayed under the west wing of the temple until the road cleared and he could be moved back to Bowling for burial. My wife is gentle and frugal in everything she does, and she manages the family well. No one dares to violate right or wrong. At night, the old monk went to fast. I wonder if anyone has ever come to see the old monk. Zun Kongwenk, Songyun, a scholar, came from Shilua at night and paid a special visit to my teacher, but he returned without meeting me. Jia Yun, looking outside the mountain gate, if you come again, let me know. Last part, I met that lady yesterday. It seems that I am looking forward to a small career. Today I'm going to ask the elder to borrow a monk's room, and I will review scriptures and history in the morning and evening. If I meet that young lady coming out, I will definitely watch her for a while. Zhonglu, Pindier, if you don't do Zhou Fang, I will kill you, Monk Fakong, for complaining. Lend me half of the guest house in the monk's room, facing the door where my abominable talent lives. Although you can't steal jade and fragrance, you should still look at Panyan's eyes. Drunken spring breeze, usually when I see Fu Fun, I am really embarrassed, and Thrush Eyebrow dares to lie. Today, when the lover saw his lover, his heart was filled with itch. The meandering teases make the intestines frightened, the sadness makes the eyes confused, and the temptation makes the heart busy. Ma Jin Songka, Song Yun, the master is expecting the gentleman to come, so he will just wait a little while, and the young monk will inform him. Jia Chu Jian Mo Ku. Mo Yun, what a good monk. Welcome the immortal guest. I saw that his head was like snow, his temples were like frost, and his face was like a child. But it is a molded image of the Sangha. Jiayun, sir, please meet inside the abbot. The old monk is not here at night, so I missed you. I hope you will forgive me, sir. Mo Yun, Shaoxing has heard about the great reputation of the old monk for a long time and wants to come and listen to the lecture. How could he not meet him yesterday? I am lucky to be able to see him now. Jia Yun, what county is your family from? May I ask your name? Why is this happening? Mo Yun, Shaoxing's surname is Zhang, his first name is Gong, and his courtesy name is Juanrui. Pomegranate flower, the master asked Xingzang one by one, and Shaoxing carefully told his heart that Shilua is my hometown, and officials travel everywhere. Lived in Xianyang. May I ask your name? Why is this happening? Mo Yun, Shaoxing's surname is Zhang, his first name is Gong, and his courtesy name is Juanrui. Pomegranate flower, the master asked Xingzang one by one, and Shaoxing carefully told his heart that Shilua is my hometown, and officials travel everywhere. Lived in Xianyang. Ancestors who were ministers of the Ministry of Rites enjoyed great fame. He died of illness in his 50s. Jia Yun, when my old husband passes away, he must leave something behind. Last singing, I have no direction in my life, leaving only an empty bag in the world. Fighting quails, my ancestors were very humble and light, and the wind was clear and the moon was bright. Jia Yun. He died of illness in his 50s. Jia Yun, when my old husband passes away, he must leave something behind. Last singing, I have no direction in my life, leaving only an empty bag in the world. Fighting quails, my ancestors were very humble and light, and the wind was clear and the moon was bright. Jia Yun. Sir, this party must go to court to get the answer. Last singing, Shaoxing has no intention of seeking an official position, but is willing to listen. The young man pays a special visit to the elder, but he is traveling all the way and has nothing to offer in return. Measuring the favor of a poor scholar is only half a piece of paper, so it is not very clear. You can talk about short things and long things, and you can weigh everything at once. 'Tis, I have a tale of silver, which I share with my regular friends. It shows my heart, and I am lucky to see you smile. Jia Yun, sir, why is this so while you are a guest? Mo Yun, there are not enough words to say about the rare things, but I can only talk about the tea ears. Go up to the small building. Shaoxing came here to visit, so why should the master be so humble? Jia Yun, the old monk would never dare to accept it. Last singing, it's hard to buy firewood with this money, it's not enough for fasting food, and it's not enough to prepare tea and soup. Looking at Song Yun, this tale is not a generous gift. If you have an opinion, speak up about Yanzhuang. I will never forget you, all the monks. Jain sir, you will definitely have something to ask for. I will never forget you, all the monks. Jain sir, you will definitely have something to ask for. Mo Yun, Shaoxing is not sincere, because the evil journey is too complicated. It is difficult to review the classics and history in the morning and evening, so he wants to stay in a room and listen to lectures in the morning and evening. The rent can be any amount per month. Mr. Ren's choice. Last singing. Yuppian, don't want Xiangji kitchen or dry wood hall. There is Nanxian in the distance, away from the east wall and against the west wing. Near the main corridor and past the ear room, everything is in place. Jia Yun no, how about staying with the old monk? Mo Xiaoyun, what do you want to do? You will definitely carry the elder and abbot with you. Hong Shangyan, the old lady asked me to ask the elder, when can I do good deeds with my husband? Respond appropriately. You have to go back and forth. Si Jieka, long blessing, elder. The lady sent her concubine to ask. When is the best time to do good things with my husband? He looked at it calmly and replied. Mo Beiyun, what a woman. Take off the shirt, my behavior is serious and not frivolous at all. The master bowed deeply and opened his red lips to speak appropriately. Zai Liangzwu. Fortunately, Panger has light makeup and a set of plain clothes. Hu Linglu is an unusual old man, looking furtively and smearing his eyes. Yuppian, if we share the tent with his passionate lady, how can we let him fold the quilt and make the bed? Fortunately, Panger has light makeup and a set of plain clothes. Hu Linglu is an unusual old man, looking furtively and smearing his eyes. Yuppian, if we share the tent with his passionate lady, how can we let him fold the quilt and make the bed? I will take the young lady and the madam to my side, but he will not let me go. I personally write with Zongliang. Jane on February 15th, you can do good things with your old husband. Hong Yun, I went to see the Buddhist temple with the elder, but I replied to my wife's words. Jia Yun sir, please sit down. The old monk and the young lady will come to see you. Moyun. Let the young lady go first, and I will come closer. Jia Yun, a scholar who makes sense. Mo Yun, is there anything Shaoxing dares to say? Jane, it's okay to take a shortcut. Last singing, Happy 3, the daughter of the Chui family has a beautiful makeup. Could she be playing the role of an old gentleman? Jiayun. I'm a monk. Is this a problem? Last singing, even though you are not alone, how can you take advantage of your head to shine and dress up so well? Jane, what are you saying, sir? The little lady didn't listen to her a long time ago. If she knew, what would it mean? Hongshang Buddha Hall section, last sing. Chao Tianzi passes through the main corridor and leads into the bridal chamber, and good things fall from the sky. I watch the door with you, and you go in. Jia Nu Yun, sir, this is not the dharma of the former kings, so how can it not offend the sect of the saints? How can an old monk be willing to behave like this at such an old age? Last sing. It's too reckless to look good, but it's okay if you don't have it. Why worry about Tang Sanzang? No wonder Shaoxing is suspicious of you. In such a big house, how come you don't have a son, so Mei Xiang comes to do it? Jian the old lady manages the family seriously. No man came or went inside or outside. Mo Beiyun, the bald man said cleverly. You are in my own way, you are strong-willed, and you hit me hard on the head. Jia Dui Hongyun, the dojo is now complete. On the 15th, I would like to invite my lady to burn incense. End question, why? Jiayun. This is Miss Chui Xianggua's utmost filial piety to repay her parents' kindness. It is also the day of the country, so the old Prime Minister takes off his filial piety, so he does good deeds. Moki Ku says, I'm sorry for my parents, who worked so hard to give birth to me. I want to repay my deep kindness, but Hao Tian ignores me. The lady is a woman. I still have the desire to repay my parents. My little life has been wandering around for several years, and since my parents passed away, there has never been a piece of paper to repay them. I hope the monk is compassionate. I also prepared 5,000 yuan for my life. How can I bring a cent to my child's meal? I recommend my parents to you. It's okay if Madam knows about it, so as to satisfy the son of man's heart. Jia Yun, Fa Tsong and this gentleman are the ones who lead the way. Mabe asked Song Yun, will the lady come tomorrow? Song Yun, how could he not do what his parents did? It's okay if Madam knows about it, so as to satisfy the son of man's heart. Jia Yun, Fa Tsong and this gentleman are the ones who lead the way. Mabe asked Song Yun, will the lady come tomorrow? Song Yun, how could he not do what his parents did? Mo Bei Yun, these $5,000 have caused some people to be missing. Quiet all around watching Ying on earth or in heaven is better than doing the Taoist temple. Nephrite is warm and fragrant, and it is like being close to each other. If you can give him a soup, it will eliminate disasters and obstacles for others. Jiayun, all went to the abbot to have tea. Do it Ku, Mo Yun, Shaoxing changes his clothes. Ma Chu Kuyun. The young lady has already decided, I'm just waiting here to ask her. Hong Si Jiayun, I won't have tea anymore. I'm afraid Madam will be late and go to reply. Hong Chuk, the last matchmaker only bows to the matchmaker, little lady bows to you. Red Cloud happy sir. Moyun. Could this young lady be Miss Ying's concubine? Hong Yun, I am, Mr. He Lao asked. Moyun, Xiaoxing's surname is Zhang, his given name is Gong, and his courtesy name is Juanrui. He is originally from Shilua. He is 23 years old. He was born on the 17th day of the first lunar month and has never married a wife, Hong Yun. Who asked you to come? Mo Yun, dare I ask if Miss comes out often? Red Angry Cloud, the gentleman is a scholar. Who asked you to come? Mo Yun, dare I ask if Miss comes out often? Red Angry Cloud, the gentleman is a scholar. Mencius said, men and women are not intimate when giving and receiving, which is the etiquette. A gentleman doesn't accept shoes in the melon field, and does not decorate his crown under the plum tree. There is no such thing as see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Don't touch anything that is not polite. My wife runs the house seriously and has a frosty attitude. There is no child 5 feet tall who can answer the door. Those who are 12 or 13 years old do not dare to enter the central hall unless called. Xiangri Yingying sneaks out of the boudoir, misses when he saw it. He called Yingying under the court and scolded him, saying, "As a woman, if you go out of your boudoir after complaining, wouldn't you be ashamed of yourself if you encounter a tourist or a monk looking at you privately?" Yingying thanked her and said, "I must change my ways now and don't dare to do it again." She is his own daughter. Even so, how much more can she serve as a concubine? Sir, I have learned the ways of the previous kings. Respecting the courtesy of Duke Zhou and not doing anything else, why do you care? I have been a concubine for a long time and can be forgiven. If my wife knew what happened, I would never stop doing anything. From now on, ask what you have to ask and stop talking nonsense about what you are not allowed to ask. Respecting the courtesy of Duke Zhou and not doing anything else, why do you care? I have been a concubine for a long time and can be forgiven. If my wife knew what happened, I would never stop doing anything. From now on, ask what you have to ask and stop talking nonsense about what you are not allowed to ask. Part 2, Mo Yun, thinking about this is harmful. Put all the worries of the day on the tip of your eyebrows. Said, my lady's integrity is as cold as ice. Who dares to enter the middle hall without summoning her? Thinking to yourself, you are afraid of the majesty of your old mother. Miss, you don't want to look up when you leave. Wait for it to be raised and teach others how to raise it. The tenderness touched my heart and my heart was aroused. If it is rare to have a lover in this life, it is because the incense was burned in the previous life. I have seasons where my palms are filled with wonder, my heart is tender, and my eyelids are filled with offerings. Playing with children, back then, Wushan was as far away as the sky. I heard that I was in Wushan again. Although my body is standing in the corridor, my soul is already walking around. I wanted to arrange my thoughts to be conveyed to Yuk, but I was afraid of leaking the love between Chun Guang and Naitong. Madam is afraid that the girl will be in love with her, so she blames Huang Inger for being against her. The pink butterflies come in pairs. 5 evils, Miss is young and strong-tempered. If Zhang Lang gets to go on a blind date, he will be tired of seeing He Lang's fans when they meet at first sight, but he will meet the secret General Han Shouxiang by chance. She has just reached a romantic position, and has become a gentle son-in-law, and a mother-in-law who is afraid of being restrained by anything. For evil spirits, the wife is overly concerned, the young man has empty delusions, and the handsome man and the talented woman are similar in appearance. Don't wait until your eyebrows are lifted and you think lightly of Zhang Chang. The spring scenery drifts and reminds you of Ruan Lang. We are not just praising ourselves, he is virtuous, has good looks, is respectful, frugal and gentle. Thinking of his lightly painted eyebrows, light makeup on his face, and rub his neck with fragrant pink and greasy jade. The green skirt is embroidered with small golden lotus flowers, and the red sleeves are long with jade bamboo shoots. It's actually better not to think about it. You left your charm for half a day, and I lost thousands of thoughts. But he forgot to resign as elder. See Jeka. The young student dares to ask the elder, how is the house? Jia Yun, there is a room in the west wing on the side of the pagoda courtyard. It is very chic and it is suitable for Mr. Ku to settle down. It's all packed now. Mr. Sui will come sooner or later. Mo Yun, Shaoxing went back to the store to move. Jia Yun, let's go have a meal. Moyun. The old monk packed up for his meal, and the young man came to collect his luggage. Jia Yun, in this case, the old monk is going to fast, and the gentleman will definitely come. Part 2, Mo Yun, if there are people making noise in the shop, it would be a good entertainment. If you move to a quiet place in the temple, how can you endure such desolation? The courtyard is deep. The pillow is cool, and a lonely shadow of a lamp shakes the book. Even though I have achieved my ambition in this life, I am still hesitant and the night is long. Being unable to sleep is like turning your palms, and there are at least 10,000 long and short sighs, and 5,000 pounding pillows and bed. Tale, the shy flower explains the words, gentle and fragrant. I knew he couldn't remember how cute he looked when we first met him, so I put my hand against my teeth and thought about it slowly. Part 2, the first book, the third fold, Zheng Dan Shangyun. The old lady asked the matchmaker to ask the elder, but this little bitch didn't come to my office to answer. Read Shangyun. Go back to the madam, go and answer the young lady. Danyan let you ask the elders, when will you do good deeds? Hong Yun, just as I was returning my message to my wife, I was waiting to reply to my sister. On February 15th, I would like to ask my wife and sister to burn some incense. Hong Xiao Yun, sister, you don't know. Let me tell you something funny. The scholar we met in the temple the day before yesterday is also in the abbot's house today. He first went out to wait for the matchmaker, and sang deeply. The young man's surname is Zhang, his given name is Gong, his courtesy name is Juanrui, and he is from Shilua. When he was 23 years old, his son Jianshi was born on the 17th day of the first lunar month, but he never married a wife. When he was 23 years old, his son Jianshi was born on the 17th day of the first lunar month, but he never married a wife. Sister, who asked him to come? He asked again, is that little lady on the wall the concubine of Miss Ying? Does the lady come out often? I was robbed by the matchmaker and came back. Sister. I don't know what to think, there are such idiots in the world. Dan Xiaoyun, matchmaker, don't tell your wife. It's getting late. Let's arrange the incense table and let's burn incense in the garden. Bottom, last cloud, moved to the temple, right near his residence in the west chamber. I ask the monk every time he comes. The lady burns incense in the garden every night. This garden is co-authored with my temple. When the lady came out, I waited at the corner of the Taihu stone bank and watched for a while. The monks on both corridors were asleep. It's late at night, the moon is bright, the wind is clear, it's a good weather. It is precisely, I am leisurely looking for the words of the abbot and the eminent monk, and I am dully chanting to the bright moon in the west chamber. Yujiao, fighting quails, the jade sky is dust-free, the Milky Way casts its shadow across the sky, and the garden is full of flowers, the clothes are cold, and the heart is on guard. Listen with your ears open and walk on tiptoe, quietly and quietly. Dive and wait. Purple flower preface waiting for the neat and tidy, curling and tingling sister Ying. After the first watch, everything was silent until Ying Ting. If someone in the corridor sees me as disgusting, I will hug him tightly. I just ask you if you will be less separated. There is a shadow but no form. Dan Yining Myang Shangyun opened the corner door and took out the incense table. Last singing, Golden Banana Leaf, a loud banging sound was heard at the corner door, and the fragrance of clothes grew softly wherever the wind passed by. Standing on tiptoes, I looked carefully, and my face looked neater than when I first met her. Danyun. Matchmaker, move the incense table to the stone bank of Taihu Lake and place it. Finally, Kank Cloud, it is expected that Chun Jiao is tired of being restrained and easily flies out of Guanghan Palace. Look at him, his face is twisted up, half of his body is exposed, his fragrant sleeves are speechless, and his skirt is hanging down without saying a word. Like the concubine of Tingling. Leaning against the red gate of Shun Temple, like Chang'e in the Jade Palace, the shadow of the Toad Palace is slightly visible. She is a good woman. Teasing order, I can see Ping Ting here, but she is not as strong as Chang'e in the Moon Palace. Cover your way through the fragrant path, it will be difficult for your little feet to walk. Kushi Nyang's face is so charming that it attracts people's soul. Dan Yun, bring the incense. Mo Yun, what do you want the lady to say? Dan Yun, with this stick of incense, I wish my ancestors could be transformed into heaven and reborn in heaven. With this stick of incense, I hope my mother will be safe and sound. This stick of incense. Doing Buyuku, Hong Yun, if my sister doesn't wish this stick of incense, I wish her on my behalf. I hope my sister will find a brother-in-law as soon as possible and take me as a matchmaker. I pray to the cloud once again, the infinite sadness in my heart is all expressed in 2 deep prayers. Chang Su Ku, Mo Yun, the lady leaned on the railing and sighed. It seems to be emotional. Little Tao Hong, the fragrant mist disperses in the empty courtyard late at night, and the east wind is quiet behind the curtain. After bowing, he leaned against the railing and shouted 2 or 3 times. The bright moon is like a hanging mirror. There was no light cloud or mist, it was just cigarette smoke. The 2 sides are so dense that they are not clearly distinguishable. Although I am not as good as Sima Xiangru, I think the lady is quite a gentleman. I chanted a poem loudly, but what he saw was, the moonlight is melting in the night, and the flowers are shaded in silence in the spring. How can I face the bright soul without seeing the man in the moon? Dan Yun. Someone was chanting poetry in the corner. Hong Yun, this voice is that of that idiot who never married a wife at the age of 23. Danyan, what a refreshing poem. Someone was chanting poetry in the corner. Hong Yun, this voice is that of that idiot who never married a wife at the age of 23. Danyan, what a refreshing poem. I will compose one according to the rhyme. Hong Yun, it's easy for you 2 to make a song. Reading the poem, the orchid boudoir has been lonely for a long time, spending the spring with nothing to do. It is expected that those who chant will have pity on those who sigh. Mo Yun, it's so easy to socialize quickly. Badu Seer, his face was full of hate, but his heart was filled with wisdom. He responded to the new poem with détail. Every word expresses one's heartfelt feelings, which is worthy of listening. It is expected that those who chant will have pity on those who sigh. Mo Yun, it's so easy to socialize quickly. Badu Seer, his face was full of hate, but his heart was filled with wisdom. He responded to the new poem with détail. Every word expresses one's heartfelt feelings, which is worthy of listening. The sentence of Holy Medicine King is clear and the melody is light. The nickname is Ying. If they had a small life together and looked at each other, they would make peace with each other until dawn. Fong Xian said, Xingxing has been cherished since ancient times. I rushed out to see what he said. Ma Langer. I pulled up Luo's shirt and was about to leave, but he greeted me with a smile on my face. Hong Yun, sister, if someone comes to our house, I'm afraid my wife will be angry. In review next, last sing, it would be too shallow to be a beautiful matchmaker, so she said, I will depend on my future destiny, I suddenly heard a sound. Shocked. It turns out that the fluttering, thorny birds are flying in the air, the branches of flowers are quivering and making shadows, and the paths are filled with red drops. Miss, you go there, there is a salary for young students. Luosi Nyang, the clear green moss dew is left in the sky, and the bright flowers sift through the moon's shadow. Shocked. It turns out that the fluttering, thorny birds are flying in the air, the branches of flowers are quivering and making shadows, and the paths are filled with red drops. Miss, you go there, there is a salary for young students. Luosi Nyang, the clear green moss dew is left in the sky, and the bright flowers sift through the moon's shadow. The desolate day is a waste of time. Let's get over my lovesickness again tonight. Dongyuan music, the curtains were lowered and the doors were closed, but I asked you quietly. He responded in a low voice. The moon was bright and the wind was clear. It was just the second watch. I was lucky, he had no chance, and his life was miserable. Mian Taishu, just looking for the way back, standing in the empty courtyard, the bamboo shoots swaying in the wind. The bucket handle is cloudy. Ah! There are 4 desolate stars tonight, how can he live without caring about others? Although it was just a hint of affection from the corner of our eyes, we both kept silent and reflected on ourselves. You can sleep so well in my eyes tonight. Zhuo Lusu, facing a short green lantern. Leaning on the fan to cool off the old curtain screen. The lamp is dim and the dream is impossible, the wind blows lightly outside the window, and the ragged notes chirp, there is nothing on the pillow, but the bed is silent. You are a man of iron and stone, and a man of iron and stone is also emotional. Yao Pian, I can't complain, I can't hate, I can't sit still, I can't sleep peacefully. One day, the willows cover the flowers, the mist curtains are covered with clouds, the night is quiet, and people vow to each other. The season is full of romance and celebration. The brocade pieces also look like a bright future, full of love. Our 2 painting studios are growing on their own. Tale. One day, good things will be determined from now on, and a poem clearly proves it. If you don't look for it in Suatai's dream, you will go to the peach blossom tree to wait. Part 2, the first volume, the 4th fold, Jia In Song Shangyun. It will be opened today, February 15th, and all the monks will use their magical instruments. Madam, please burn some incense. Waiting for my wife's future, I would like to ask Zhang Sheng to burn some incense. If my wife asks, she will say that I am a poor monk. Madam, please burn some incense. Waiting for my wife's future, I would like to ask Zhang Sheng to burn some incense. If my wife asks, she will say that I am a poor monk. Modern cloud, today is the 15th day of the 2nd lunar month. The monk asked me to hold some incense. I have to ask for it. Double 2 new water order the moon in King Brahma's palace is high. The azure glass is shrouded in auspicious smoke. The cigarette clouds cover the knot, mocking the waves of the sea. The flags and shadows are fluttering, and all the sandalwood trees are coming. The azure glass is shrouded in auspicious smoke. The cigarette clouds cover the knot, mocking the waves of the sea. The flags and shadows are fluttering, and all the sandalwood trees are coming. Standing on horseback to listen, Dharma drums and golden bells, the spring thunder in February rings in the corner of the palace. The bells sound the Buddha's call, and the wind and rain sprinkle the pine trees for half a day. The old monk is not allowed to knock on the waiting door. There must be a matchmaker newspaper outside the screen window. The greedy brain that loves lovesickness must be very satisfied when seeing him. Ma Jinjeka, Jaeun, sir, please hold some incense first, lest your wife ask. She will say that she is related to the old monk. Mo Niangxiank. Drunk in the east wind, I only hope that all living people will live long. The heavenly relief of death. In honor of the spirits of ancestors and fathers, we pay homage to the three jewels of Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. Burning incense and praying secretly, I hope the matchmaker will stop being bad, the wife will stop being scorched, and the dog will stop being evil. Buddha, the secret agreement of Yochi has been fulfilled long ago. Madam Indan Shangyan Elder, please burn some incense, miss. Let's take a walk. I will not do it, looking at Song Yun. I am sincere for you, and the gods have descended. Song Yun and I have experienced two things early in this life. Last singing. Yener Luo, I thought that this jade heavenly immortal had left Bixiao, and it turned out that he had come to invite him to marry me. The boy is troubled and sick. How can you think that he is the most beautiful person in the country? Victory order, just like a sandalwood mouth dotted with cherries, a pink nose leaning against Qiangyao, a pale pear blossom face, and a light willow waist. Enchanting, her face is full of beauty, slender, her face is delicate. Jieyun, a word from the poor monk. Madam, do you dare to speak? The old monk had a relative who was a well-educated scholar. After his parents died, he had nothing to repay. He said to me, young Ji will bring me some food to recommend my parents. The poor monk agreed for a while, fearing that his wife would be blamed. Mrs. Yun, the elder's kiss is my kiss. Please come and meet us. Last worship to Madam's section, Monk Si Danfa section, last sing. Chow Paier, the master is old, and he is staring at the Dharma throne. The head of the class who was named was really dumbfounded, looking at the Dharma. Song Tu makes a golden chime to knock. Tian Shui Ling, the old one is the young one, the village one is pretty, there is no confusion. It's better than celebrating the Lantern Festival. A pretty person can be an enemy, but he is afraid that people will know about him, so he looks at her with tears in his eyes at the right time. Zhigui Ling, I am fascinated by Shaoxing, and my heart is itchy. The cries are like orioles chirping in the forest, and the tears are like dewdrops. It is difficult to learn from a master. Put on a compassionate face. The tutu who strikes the chime is upset, and the traveler who adds incense is anxious. The shadow of the candle is swaying in the wind, and the fragrance and mist are floating in the clouds. When I look at the orioles greedily, the candle is extinguished and the fragrance disappears. Jieyun, the wind extinguishes the lamp. Mo Yun, Shaoxing lights a lamp and burns incense. Dan and Hongyun. Na Xing had a busy night. Butterfly flower, on the outside, she looks romantic and youthful, on the inside, she is smart and talented, and she makes all kinds of pretense with her body, showing off her beauty to others. Hongyun, I guess that life, Yuppian, this time at dusk, that time during the day. There will be a walk outside the window. I stayed in the study all night long and waited until I fell asleep. How could I wait until dawn with thousands of long sighs? Mo Yun, that young lady looks after the boy so much. Jasper Flute, feelings draw eyebrows, you know my mood, sorrow grows in my heart, I can guess my feelings. Chang is annoyed. The sound of the cloud board is clanging. The traveler howls and the novice whistles. You must not take advantage of others. Jia and the monks make a secret, the magic weapon is moved, Jia shakes the bell and pestle, and burns the paper. Jia Yun, it's dawn, please madam and miss go back to the house. Mo Yun, it's okay to do it for a while longer. There is no way to pay young students there. Mandarin duck evil wanting to fight seems like having no good intentions, being passionate but being annoyed by ruthlessness. After working hard all night, the moon sets, the bells ring, and the roosters crow. A smooth road means that the beautiful lady is ill after returning home, and the good things are settled early, and everyone disperses after the dojo. Everyone went home after drinking wine, and the gourds made noise until dawn. Next, Luosi Nyang's evil tale means that you have the appearance of a moonshine flower, and you must not cut the grass to remove the roots. Title: The Old Lady Guanchunyuan, Chui Yingying, burns night incense, rectifies the name. The little matchmaker spreads the good deeds. Zhang Juanrui makes trouble in the dojo. The second book, the first fold. Sun Feihu opens above. His surname is Sun. His given title: The Old Lady Guanchunyuan, Chui Yingying, burns night incense, rectifies the name. The little matchmaker spreads the good deeds. Zhang Juanrui makes trouble in the dojo. The second book, the first fold. Sun Feihu opens above. His surname is Sun. His given name is Biao. His courtesy name is Feihu, and his name. I commanded 5,000 men and horses, guarded the river bridge, and robbed good people of their property. I commanded 5,000 men and horses, guarded the river bridge, and robbed good people of their property. I recently learned that Yingying, the daughter of Cui Ju, the former prime minister, has dark eyebrows and green eyebrows, a lotus face full of spring, and a look that will captivate a country. She has the face of Shizi Taizhen. She is now staying at Pujiu Temple in Hezhong Prefecture. Today, when we are using force, the general is still dishonest, so why should I be so incorruptible? All three armies, large and small, listen to my order. All men have their titles, all horses are choked, and they march into Hezhong Mansion overnight. It is my lifelong wish to capture Yingying as my wife. Part 2, Dharma Book 1. Who would have thought that Sun Feihu would surround the temple gate with 1,000 thieves, sounding gongs and drums, shouting and waving flags, hoping to kidnap Miss Yingying as his wife? I don't dare to break the rules now, so I will ask to report that my wife has left. Part 2, Madam panicked. What's wrong with this? We went to the lady's bedroom to discuss it. Part 2, as soon as the matchmaker is brought up, when I saw Zhang Sheng, my soul was in a state of confusion, my emotions were unhappy, and I had little food and tea. It's already sad to leave someone, but now it's late spring, it's so troublesome. A good sentence is to pity Yeyue. The fallen flowers are speechless and blame the east wind. Xianlu, bashing Ganzhou, I'm so thin and thin, I've already been hurting my nerves, and it's the end of spring. How many dust can be faded by wearing a loose robe? The wind curls the seal smoke but does not roll up the curtains, the rain beats the pear blossoms and the door is closed behind closed doors. I am speechless, relying on the curtain, and my eyes are broken by the moving clouds. Hunjianglong. Falling reds form an array, thousands of points are drifting in the wind, and people are worried. The pond is dreaming of dawn, and the balcony is saying goodbye to spring. Butterfly powder is lightly stained with flying catkins, and the fragrance of swallow mud is attracting falling flower dust. The spring mood is short and the willow silk is long, and people are far away in the shade across the flowers. Close. The fragrance eliminates the golden powder of the 6 dynasties and clears away the spirit of the 3 chus. Hong Yun, my sister is feeling unhappy. I will sleep more with my quilt smelling sweet. Dan's singing, oil gourd, the green cover is cold and presses the embroidery, so don't smoke the orchid and musk deer. If you smoke out the orchid and musk deer, you will be able to keep yourself warm. Last night, I had a perfect trick to seduce. It is difficult to get close to people in Yutong today. During these times, I feel uneasy sitting and sleeping unsteadily. I feel uncomfortable waiting for my arrival, and I feel bored walking around. Daily price makes me sleepy. Hello, matchmaker, I'll take a nap on a pillow made of silk gauze. But out of the boudoir. Like a shadow, never leaving the body. Hong Yun, if you don't want to do anything about matchmaking, the old lady asked me to follow my sister. Danya, my mother, is so boring. At these times, she was extremely cautious about people. Xiao Meixiang waited on her diligently, and the old lady restrained herself tightly. I'm afraid that my girl will lose her temper. Hong Yun, my sister has never been so heartless and emotionless. When she saw that Zhang Sheng, she felt uneasy, but what? Dan Sheng, Naza Ling, usually, if I see an outsider, I will get angry early, but if I see a guest. The disgust faded away. From the moment I saw that person, I kissed him all the time. Thinking of his poem last night, according to the previous rhyme, the harmony is refreshing. The magpie steps on the branches, the sentences can be recited evenly, the words can be pronounced true, and the new poem chanting the moon is as powerful as a brocade palindrome. Who is willing to use the needle to guide the thread? The disgust faded away. From the moment I saw that person, I kissed him all the time. Thinking of his poem last night, according to the previous rhyme, the harmony is refreshing. The magpie steps on the branches, the sentences can be recited evenly, the words can be pronounced true, and the new poem chanting the moon is as powerful as a brocade palindrome. Who is willing to use the needle to guide the thread? To the east there is a cordial connection. Parasite grass, thinking of the literary scholar, a charming person, he has a delicate face, a handsome body, a gentle temperament and a gentle temper, and I can't help but remember him in my mouth and in my heart. It's worth it to learn Xing Duan's articles in one day. No one has asked under the window for 10 years. Fei Hu leads the troops to surround the temple. Part 2. The pawns shout loudly. People in the temple listen. You are limited to offering up ying every 3 days. If you marry my general, everything will stop. If you don't send it out in 3 days, all the garlands will be burned. The monks and laymen were cut off every inch, leaving no one behind. Madam and Jia go to the knocking department. Hong looked at the cloud. Sister, Madam and the elder are all in front of the door. Dan Jian Ku, Madam Cloud, my child, do you know? The monks and laymen were cut off every inch, leaving no one behind. Madam and Jia go to the knocking department. Hong looked at the cloud. Sister, Madam and the elder are all in front of the door. Dan Jian Ku, Madam Cloud, my child, do you know? Now Sun Feihu has 500,000 thieves surrounding the temple gate, saying, you have dark eyebrows and a green frown. The lotus face is full of spring, like the Taizhen who conquered the country and the city. I want to kidnap you to be the wife of Yezhai. My child, how can you be born? Dan Sing. Preface to 6 Mysteries. I heard that my soul left the shell after I heard it. The lotus face is full of spring, like the Taizhen who conquered the country and the city. I want to kidnap you to be the wife of Yezhai. My child, how can you be born? Dan Sing. Preface to 6 Mysteries. I heard that my soul left the shell after I heard it. Now let the disaster destroy the body, and the tips of the sleeves will not be able to catch the crying marks, so that I can live without cause. There is no way to advance or retreat, but I am in a hurry to kiss someone in that pot. The widow, her son, and her mother had no refuge, and the naked ones died first before the blessed ones. The golden drums in my ears are ringing, the sky is shaking, the clouds are rising, and the earth is raining one after another. Yuppian, every time I hear about it, Huyun. There is no way to advance or retreat, but I am in a hurry to kiss someone in that pot. The widow, her son, and her mother had no refuge, and the naked ones died first before the blessed ones. The golden drums in my ears are ringing, the sky is shaking, the clouds are rising, and the earth is raining one after another. Yuppian, every time I hear about it, Huyun. He said to me, my eyebrows are dark and blue. The lotus face is full of spring, it is the Taizhen who conquers the country and the city. Why don't you send him 300 monks? 500,000 thieves, dare to cut the grass and remove the roots in a moment? This guy has no loyalty at home and for the country, and is ruthless. They plundered the people and burned all the palace-like buildings there. Without Zhuge Kongming, he would have to go to Baoang Shaotuan. Without Zhuge Kongming, he would have to go to Baoang Shaotuan. Madam said, if you are 60 years old, you will not die young. But if your child is young and has not been able to obey your husband, what can you do? Dan Yun the kid has a plan. I think it's just that I am marrying a thief. A common man can spare the lives of his entire family. Madam crying section, there is no criminal in my family, and I have a remarried daughter. How can I be willing to offer you to a traitor without dishonoring my family tree? Jia Yun, I went to the upper and lower corridors of the Dharma Hall to ask the monks and lay people who had wise opinions. Let's discuss it together. Let's discuss it together. Come to the Law Hall section, Madam Yun. How did the young lady get born? Dan Yun, it's better to put me and the thief together. There are 5 reasons. Back garden flower. The first is to avoid destroying the old lady. The second is to avoid the palace becoming ashes. The third time, all the monks are safe and sound. The fourth time, the ancestor's coffin is safe. The fifth time, although Huanlang is a minor, Huan Yun, oh, it doesn't matter. Dan Xing must be a descendant of the Chui family. Yingying cherishes her own body and cannot follow the rebel army. All the monks are stained with blood. Burning the gel on fire internally, the spirits of the ancestors are reduced to fine dust, cutting off the love of brothers and cutting off the kindness of a loving mother. Lu Year, oh, no one in my family will be left alive, and I'm afraid of humiliating my family when I join the army. Burning the gel on fire internally, the spirits of the ancestors are reduced to fine dust, cutting off the love of brothers and cutting off the kindness of a loving mother. Lu Year, oh, no one in my family will be left alive, and I'm afraid of humiliating my family when I join the army. I might as well commit suicide for nothing and leave my body behind. If you offer it to a thief, it will cause harm to your whole body. Chingur, mother, she was so angry that she couldn't say anything to others. Mother, don't cherish Yingying's body. You, my child, have a unique plan. Don't choose anyone, build meritorious deeds, kill the bandit army, and wipe out the evil atmosphere. Instead of staying with the family, he is willing to marry a hero and become a Qin and Jean. Mrs. Yun, this is okay. Although they are not a perfect match, it is still better than being trapped among thieves. The elder shouted in the Dharma Hall, there are monks and laymen in the 2 corridors, but those who have a plan to retreat should accompany the dowry instead. Ruin Yingying and him as his wife. Jia called, stop, and applause to the cloud. I have a plan to retreat, why don't you ask me? See Madam section, Jia Yun, this scholar is the scholar recommended by the leader the day before yesterday. Madam Cloud, the plan will be Anze. Moyun, under heavy rewards, there must be brave men. If the rewards and punishments are clear, the plan will succeed. Dan Baiyun, I only hope that the thieves will be defeated in this life. Madam Yun, Chakai told the elders that if there is someone who retreats from the thieves, I will marry the young lady to him. Mo Yun, that is Xia, don't bluff my wife, please go into the bedroom. I have my own strategy for retreating. Mrs. Yun, the lady and the matchmaker are going back. Dan to Hong Yun, it's rare to have such a kind heart in this life. Zhuansha, all the monks escaped for their lives, and their family members asked, I don't know how tight the horizontal branches are in this life. It is not the scholar who talks more. Also guard against the destruction of jade and stone. Although they are not related to each other, it is pity to see that their fate is patrolling, and if they don't help, they will use up all the talents. If there is a letter from Chu Shibiao written by Zhang Sheng, I hope that the tip of your pen can sweep away 5,000 people. The second book, the second fold, Madam, Jia Tong, last entry, Madam said, how is this matter? Mo Yun, Shaoxing has a plan, use the elder first. Jia Yun, the old monk doesn't know how to fight. Please don't change the scholar. Mo Yun, don't panic, I don't want you to fight. Go out and talk to the thief. The lady took the young lady out as soon as possible and sent her to the general, but her father was dead. It would be a pity not to mention Jean Bongu and frighten the young lady to death. If the general wants to be his son-in-law, he can tie up his troops according to their armor and retreat to where they can shoot. Only 3 days have passed to complete the merits and take off the filial piety. Put on colorful clothes, stay with the dowry, and send the young lady to the general. Send it without arguing. Firstly, the father is filial, and secondly, it will be disadvantageous to the king. Go ahead and talk about it. Jia Yun, how about 3 days from now? Mo Yun has a plan. Put on colorful clothes, stay with the dowry, and send the young lady to the general. Send it without arguing. Firstly, the father is filial, and secondly, it will be disadvantageous to the king. Go ahead and talk about it. Jia Yun, how about 3 days from now? Mo Yun has a plan. Jia Chao Guimen Dao Jingku, please call the general. The flying tiger leads the soldiers to the clouds, send Yingying out quickly. Jia Yun, general, calm down. The lady asked the old monk to come and talk to the general. Same as before, Fai Huiyun, in that case, I will limit you to 3 days later. If you don't send it, everyone will die and no one will survive. You tell madam, go ahead and teach him how to recruit such a good-tempered son-in-law. Introducing the soldiers' exit, Jia Yun, the traitors have retreated. If they are not sent out in 3 days, they will all die. Mo Yun, I have an old friend, whose surname is Du Mingke, and whose name is General Whitehorse. There are now 100,000 soldiers guarding Puguan. There are now 100,000 soldiers guarding Puguan. If I send a letter, this person will definitely come to save me. This place is 45 miles away from Puguan. I have written a book, how can I get someone to send it to me? Jia Yun, if General Whitehorse is willing to come, why worry about Sun Feihu? Calling him Hui Ming means drinking and fighting. If you ask him to go, he will definitely not go. You must use words to provoke him, and he will go. Mo Huan Yun, there is a letter sent to General Du, who dares to go? Who dares to go? Hui Ming Shang Yun, I dare to go. Singing. I didn't recite the Lotus Sutra, I didn't bow to Emperor Liang's confession, I put on my monk's hat and took off my shirt. The murderous desire makes the hero bold, and he grasps the black-tailed steel rafter with both hands. Rolling the hydrangea, it's not because I'm greedy, it's not because I dare, I don't know how he was called a ginseng. Fight straight out of the tiger cave and dragon pond without taking a single step. If it wasn't me who helped me, I wasn't the one who took it. At this time, eating vegetables and steamed buns would be boring, and 5,000 people wouldn't even ask for moxibustion and decoction. The warm blood in the cavity quenches thirst, and the heart in the lungs quenches the thirst, which is very unpleasant. Tao Tao Ling, Fu Sha soup. Add some mixed glutinous rice flour to the wide slices, stir-fry the sour yellow leeks and rotten tofu, add more than 10,000 kilograms of black noodles, and make a meal of steamed bun fillings for these 5,000 people. It must be a mistake, brother. Don't be wrong, brother. Wrap the remaining meat and dip it in salt. Jiayun. Add some mixed glutinous rice flour to the wide slices, stir-fry the sour yellow leeks and rotten tofu, add more than 10,000 kilograms of black noodles, and make a meal of steamed bun fillings for these 5,000 people. It must be a mistake, brother. Don't be wrong, brother. Wrap the remaining meat and dip it in salt. Jiayun. Zhang Xiuzai asked you to send a book to Puguan. Do you dare to go? Hui Sing, if you are a scholar, where can you ask the monk if he dares to go? I will ask the master to use us here. Zhang Xiuzai asked you to send a book to Puguan. Do you dare to go? Hui Sing, if you are a scholar, where can you ask the monk if he dares to go? I will ask the master to use us here. You are a monk, but why don't you read the sutras and repent? Why are you fighting? Hui Sing, rolling the hydrangea, I don't even talk about scriptures, and I don't bother to study Zen when I'm away. The tip of the sword is recently dipped in steel, and there is no dust stain or dust on the iron rod. Others are neither monks, nor are they vulgar. If a woman is not a woman or a man is not a man, she will fast and be full, and then go to the monk's room to drink. Even if the tusada is burned there, it will be like a garum. It is because of that man who is good at writing and capable of fighting for thousands of miles. With this letter of relief and support for danger, he is brave and unstoppable. If a woman is not a woman or a man is not a man, she will fast and be full, and then go to the monk's room to drink. Even if the tusada is burned there, it will be like a garum. It is because of that man who is good at writing and capable of fighting for thousands of miles. With this letter of relief and support for danger, he is brave and unstoppable. Moyun. What if he doesn't let you go? Huiyun, he won't let me go, don't worry. What if he doesn't let you go? Huiyun, he won't let me go, don't worry. By Hizi, a few young novice monks will hold up the banners and flags, and the strong travelers will carry poles, clubs, and walks on their shoulders. You will form a formation to secure the monks, and I will pound the nails to detect the thieves. 2. The iron rod was broken open far away, and the sword and samarium were close at hand. Some of the small ones lifted it up on their toes, and some of the big ones pulled it down to dig the skull. 1. Take a look at the ancient capital and see the sea waves rolling over, the waves shaking the mountains and rocks. The feet are so powerful that the earth shakes, and the hands are pulled so hard that the sky is shaken. Playing with children, I have always refuted the bad and the bad. I have never been worried in this world. The feet are so powerful that the earth shakes, and the hands are pulled so hard that the sky is shaken. Playing with children, I have always refuted the bad and the bad. I have never been worried in this world. I have worked hard to become brave by nature. I have always been categorical and always on the one side, and I don't like to mess with the grass and pick flowers without weighing the three. People with bad natures are miserable, risking their lives to pick up swords, and are even more afraid to rein in their horses. People with bad natures are miserable, risking their lives to pick up swords, and are even more afraid to rein in their horses. 2. I have always bullied the strong and feared the weak, and I have endured hardships unwillingly. I will earn money from insincere words. If you are wrong, you will be very ashamed. Huiyun, send the letter and wait for the reply. Ending, you and I will cheer up, beat the drums a few times, and give a shout based on the power of the Buddha. Under the embroidered flag, I can see my hero from afar. I taught those 500,000 thieves to scare them out of their wits. Part 2, Mo Yun, the old lady and the elders are all rest assured that there will be good news when this book comes. We watch the flags with our eyes and listen to the good news with our ears. You see, a letter arrives unexpectedly, and 500,000 soldiers are close at hand. I taught those 500,000 thieves to scare them out of their wits. Part 2, Mo Yun, the old lady and the elders are all rest assured that there will be good news when this book comes. We watch the flags with our eyes and listen to the good news with our ears. You see, a letter arrives unexpectedly, and 500,000 soldiers are close at hand. Exit. The second book, the third discount, Madame Zhang and I will arrange a drink today and ask Mr. Zhang to pay for it. Dao and the matchmaker hurriedly went to the academy to invite Zhang Sheng. The second book, the third discount, Madame Zhang and I will arrange a drink today and ask Mr. Zhang to pay for it. Dao and the matchmaker hurriedly went to the academy to invite Zhang Sheng. He was bound to come soon, so there was no need to make excuses. Part 2, Modern Cloud. Late at night, the old lady said, "The matchmaker is here to invite me." But why didn't he come? I dressed up and waited for him. I also used 2 saponins, 2 buckets of water, and wiped the black gauze hat until it was smooth. Why don't you see the matchmaker coming? The matchmaker goes to the cloud. The old lady asked me to invite Zhang Sheng. I think if it hadn't been for Zhang Sheng's clever plan, the lives of my whole family would not have been saved. Zhonglu, pink butterfly, 500,000 thieves were swept away by the floating clouds, and my family narrowly escaped death. I think if it hadn't been for Zhang Sheng's clever plan, the lives of my whole family would not have been saved. Zhonglu, pink butterfly, 500,000 thieves were swept away by the floating clouds, and my family narrowly escaped death. Xuxin's mountain spirits, Chen Shuelu, Zhang Junro, should pay homage to him. Nothing was achieved that day. No one thought that keeping a secret would be used as a matchmaker. Drunken Dongfeng today, a banquet is held in the East Pavilion, which is as powerful as the West Wing and the moon. A thin quilted single pillow is warm, but it is not cold or cold in the morning. The fragrance of the Zubao tripod is strong, the wind blows softly on the embroidered curtains, and the people at the green windows are quiet. But I came early. Take off the cloth, there are people walking in the secluded place, the green moss is dotted and the white dew is cool. The child coughed through the window, red knocking section, Mo Yun, who is coming? Red cloud, it's me. He opened his lips and rushed to agree. Mo Yun, bow down to the little lady. Zai Liangzwu. Then I saw him crossing his hands and greeting me with greetings, hail, sir. The black gauze cap is bright, the white robe is pure, and the horn belt is proud of Huang Cheng. Yupian, Pang Erjuan is well-dressed and well-dressed, but he knows how to attract me. Judging from my appearance and talent, I have always been hard-hearted. Show mercy when you see him. Mo Yun, now that you've come, let's make peace with you. Please speak in the study. What is this little lady doing? Red Cloud, under the strict orders of my wife, I specially invite you to have a few drinks with me, please do not refuse. Mo Yun, just go, just go. Show mercy when you see him. Mo Yun, now that you've come, let's make peace with you. Please speak in the study. What is this little lady doing? Red Cloud, under the strict orders of my wife, I specially invite you to have a few drinks with me, please do not refuse. Mo Yun, just go, just go. Dare I ask if there is Sister Ying at the table? Go up to the small building. The word please was not uttered, and the word go was hurriedly agreed, but in front of the early Ying root, sister, called her, and she kept saying no. Go up to the small building. The word please was not uttered, and the word go was hurriedly agreed, but in front of the early Ying root, sister, called her, and she kept saying no. Every time a scholar hears please, he seems to be listening to the general's strict orders, and his 5 internal organs are willing to follow the whip and stirrup. Moyun. What feast is the lady serving today? Hong Sing. Yuppian, the first one is to calm down the shock, the second one is to express gratitude. Not inviting neighbors, not being friendly to neighbors, not being favored. What feast is the lady serving today? Hong Sing. Yuppian, the first one is to calm down the shock, the second one is to express gratitude. Not inviting neighbors, not being friendly to neighbors, not being favored. To avoid the monks, ask my brother to be with Ying. Then I saw that he was overjoyed and eager to follow his destiny. Mo Yun, there is no mirror among the young strangers. Then I saw that he was overjoyed and eager to follow his destiny. Mo Yun, there is no mirror among the young strangers. How dare you bother the young lady to look at the young stranger? Red Sing, Man Ting Fong, let's review the shadow, the literary and demon scholar, the wind owes sourness. The glossy oil shines on people's eyes, and the sour sting makes people's teeth hurt. Mo Yun, madam, what do you want me to do? Hong Sing, tea and rice have been arranged. Several liters of rice have been washed out of the old warehouse, and 7 or 8 bowls of soft vines are on the plate. Mo Yun, Shaoxing wanted to come, after meeting the young lady in the temple. If you don't want to get married today, why don't you decide for your previous life? Hongyan marriage is not something you can do by force, it is God's will. Happy 3 we are good at one thing and good at everything. If we accomplish nothing, we will accomplish nothing. The grass and trees in the world are merciless. Since ancient times, it has been said, the earth produces lianli trees, and the water produces lotus flowers. He still merges with each other. The Son of Heaven, Shuodao, is born in this life. He is a young man, and he is just learning to be lovesick. He is born smart and handsome, but he is alone every night. A talented man is sentimental, a beautiful woman is unlucky, and a foolish man is careless in risking people's lives. He still merges with each other. The Son of Heaven, Shuodao, is born in this life. He is a young man, and he is just learning to be lovesick. Hong Sing, who doesn't have faith, who doesn't have sincerity, you too will prove it tonight. I charge you and me. Quiet on all sides, celebrate tonight. Weak Ying, have you ever been used to it? You ask for money gently, and they cross their necks under the lamp. It's disgusting to look at it, it's so evil, but it's not clean. Mo Yun, the young lady goes first, and the young man will come after cleaning up the study. May I ask what the scenery is there? Red singing, playing with children. There is a lot of red and rouge falling all over my place. Don't let down the beauty of this beautiful time. Madam, don't stop sending concubines. Sir, please don't be promoted. I have prepared a mandarin duck selling gold tent at night and a peacock soft jade screen in the spring breeze. The music is played in harmony, with phoenix, flute, elephant board, brocade se, yuan and sheng. Mo Yun, Xiaosheng's book and sword are floating around, and cannot be used as a gift, but how can he survive? Hong Sing. For evils, don't fight for money when you hire someone. Marriage has its own success, and the newlyweds make arrangements. Yiming won the Phoenix and took the one guest, and I came to lie down at night to watch Altair and Vega. Xiao Qixing, I don't need you to have any red thread to achieve your whole life's future. 3 evils, with your ability to destroy the bandits, you will be able to raise generals. The 2 general effects are like Hong Ding. Why do I, Ing Nyang, have a very submissive heart, but Jun Rui has millions of soldiers in his heart? The style of writing becomes more and more prosperous, surrounded by green beads, resulting in yellow scrolls and green lanterns. The 2 general effects are like Hong Ding. Why do I, Ing Nyang, have a very submissive heart, but Jun Rui has millions of soldiers in his heart? The style of writing becomes more and more prosperous, surrounded by green beads, resulting in yellow scrolls and green lanterns. Shah, the wife only has one family, and the brother has no companions to wait. Looking for quietness because of the tedium. Mo Yun, are there any other guests? Hong Sing, I invite you to be a kind and righteous guest in leisure, and avoid the monk who is nothing but a window dresser. When it comes to your wife's fate, don't shirk your duties, even if you are accompanied by a lowly concubine. Looking for quietness because of the tedium. Mo Yun, are there any other guests? Hong Sing, I invite you to be a kind and righteous guest in leisure, and avoid the monk who is nothing but a window dresser. Xiaosheng came later. Red singing, ending, Sir, stop being modest, Madam will wait attentively. As the saying goes, being respectful is worse than obeying orders. Don't ask Mei Xiang to invite you again. Part 2, Mo Yun, the matchmaker has gone, and Xiaosheng drags him to the study door. I waited until I got to the madam, who said, Zhang Sheng, you are here. Drink a few glasses of wine and go to the bedroom to have sex with Ying. When Xiaosheng arrived in the bedroom, he and his sister took off their clothes and took off their clothes. They were in love with each other, enjoying the joy of fish and water, and working together to achieve their wish to fly. Looking at him, her cloud servant girl was low, her starry eyes were slightly dim, and she was turned over by the jadeite. Stockings embroidered with mandarin ducks, I wonder what life will be like. Let's look at the breakdown next time. Laughing Cloud, Shan Xian is a good monk who is good at Dharma. He only relies on speaking the Dharma, but he has a heart for reading. Part 2, the second book, the 4th fold, the lady arranged the table and set it, the matchmaker went to invite Zhang Sheng, why didn't she come? Mrs. Hongjian said, Zhang Sheng asked the matchmaker to go first and then come later. See Madame Sherlike at the end, Madame said, if it weren't for my husband the day before yesterday, how could we be here today? The fate of my family is all lived by my husband. Let's have a drink while chatting, it's not a gift, don't take it lightly, Mo Yun. If one person is happy, the people will rely on it. The defeat of this thief is all thanks to my wife. If General Du does not arrive, none of us will be able to avoid death. These are all things of the past, and there is no need to mention them. Madam said, bring the wine, sir, and drink this cup to the full. And, Yun, the elders give it, but the younger ones dare not refuse it. At the end of the drinking class, at the end the lady got drunk, Madam said, sir, please sit down. Mo Yun, the boy is sitting down, but he is so polite that he dares to sit across from the lady. Madam said, there is no saying that, it is better to obey orders than to be respectful. Thank you, sit down, Madam said, matchmaker, go call the lady. Those who salute, sir. Red Chow Gui Men Dao Huanyan, the old lady is waiting for guests in the back hall, please come out. Dan Ing Yun, I'm not in good health and I can't come. Hong Yun, who do you want to invite? Dan Yun, who to invite? Hong Yun, invite Zhang Xingli. Dan Yun, if you invite Zhang Sheng. Helping the sick also takes away the pain. The red-haired doctor, Dan Shang, saved the Chui family from disaster. All it takes is half a piece of paper written by Zhang. Double tune, 5 offerings. If Zhang Jiayuan hadn't known many people, how could anyone have retreated from the fight? Wine and fruit are lined up, and music are lined up. The seal smoke is faint and the fragrance of flowers is fine. The curtain is filled with the east wind. He saved our whole family from trouble. He was diligent and courteous, and respectful and courteous. The curtain is filled with the east wind. He saved our whole family from trouble. He was diligent and courteous, and respectful and courteous. New water order, Chakai drew a pair of moths. If he hadn't been surprised, he would still be lying under his embroidered quilt. Hong Yun, looking at my sister's face, Zhang Sheng is so lucky. Dancing. Yapian, I didn't check it out, I lied to you, you told me that I should dress up, and my face was broken. Red cloud. My sister was born to be a lady. Dancing, you should stop chatting there and don't talk nonsense. Do you know what his fortune is? I've done it as a lady. Hong Yun, usually both are bad, but today it's good to be happy early in the morning. Dancing, my sister was born to be a lady. Dancing, you should stop chatting there and don't talk nonsense. Do you know what his fortune is? I've done it as a lady. Hong Yun, usually both are bad, but today it's good to be happy early in the morning. Dancing, Chiao Mucha. I miss him, and he misses me. From now on, I miss both of them better. Congratulations should be repaid with gifts, and my mother is also very kind. Hong Yun, I dare you, miss, to get married to Zhang Sheng. Why don't you have a big banquet to meet relatives and friends? Why arrange a drink? Dan Yun, matchmaker, you don't know what my wife wants. Mixing Zhengpa, he is afraid that I am a loser, so we can make a deal. According to him, the generals will be eliminated and thieves will be eliminated, and family ties will be eliminated. After spending a lot of time, I was about to get a knot of silkworms. Stop the wave. The merciless grandma is too worried and may make a fuss. Mo Yun, let me change my clothes. Du Tsang Jian Dan Ku, Dan Sing. Qing Xuanha, outside the door, in front of the curtain, put your little feet. I was just waiting for my eyes to turn, but who would have thought that the spiritual heart that only sees empty space would be broken early? It frightened me into hiding. Hide upside down. Ma Jian Danki, Madam Yun, the young lady came forward to worship her brother. Mo Bei Yun, oh, my voice is not good anymore. Danyana, my mother has changed her mind. Hong Yun, this lovesickness is also seeking harm. Dancing, Yen Erluo, how can the thorns be moved? There is no way back until death. Xochitl does not answer. It's hard to sit still if you are soft and stubborn. Victory order, who hopes that this old lady will live forever and take Ying as her sister and worship her brother? The white water overflows from the blue bridge, and the fire in the coat temple is lit. Clear blue waves. The flounder is split open with a splash, the eyebrows are locked together in knots due to the rush. Madame Yun, the matchmaker, watches the hot wine, and the young lady and her brother hold the cups. Duan Sing, Tian Shui Ling, my pink neck is drooped, my eyebrows are furrowed, my heart is empty, I am very. We talk too much when we meet. Starry eyes are hazy, and the sandalwood mouth is sighing, but it can't be seen. This table is so smooth. It's nothing. Danbeju ku, Madame Yanka, Moyun, Xiashenqiang Naro. Dan Yun, the matchmaker, took the cup. Shilling Ling, he actually couldn't swallow the jade liquid Jinbo. Whoever looked forward to the West Chamber at the end of the month turned out to be in Nank's dream. My eyes are flooded with tears, and my wine is wet with incense. He was so tired that he stretched out his limp body and made a pile of it. I couldn't lift my hands and lift my shoulders. The disease is so severe that it is absolutely difficult to survive. Then you gave it away. What are you doing? Madame Yun, another one. The red cup is handed over. Duan Sing, Moon Begonia, a glass of stuffy wine passed before me, bowing my head and saying nothing. I'm not very drunk, but I already thought the glass cup was too big. Because of me, it's better to drink wine. Red back and Danyan. Sister, why did this trouble happen? Dan Sing, Yatai Pian, now I still have time to worry about it. What should I do if I think about it for a long time? I want to express my heartfelt feelings, but my mother sits sideways and hides. The distance between her is as wide as a room. Madame Yun, the matchmaker, sends the young lady to her bedroom. Dan Ci is out of school at the end of her career. Dan Yun, my mother is so talkative that she doesn't mean what she means. Chow Pier, the old lady is undecided when she turns around. How can she guess the riddles? The black pavilion talks sweetly to make peace with others, but makes the future unhappy. Beautiful women are destined to have a bad life. Scholars are always cowardly. Kill the headless goose and leave the money and goods behind. If you don't fight, you won't get married, and you'll pay me in return. Happiness in front of the palace, just a smile, making Jiangzhou Sima full of tears. If it weren't for one letter, 500,000 thieves would be defeated. How can my family survive? Why does he not want to get married? It's hard to do anything until now. The old lady lied as big as the sky. I was also your mother if I succeeded that day, and you are Shao He who failed today. Lighting banquet with Xie Zhisha. From now on, the pear blossoms will be lonely, and the rouge will be pale on the cherries. When will this lovesickness last? The Black Sea is deep, the white land is thick, and the blue sky is broad. I look up as high as the Taihang Mountains, and I am as deep and thirsty as the Eastern Sea. How poisonous! My mother, rub the trembling double-headed stamens, cut the fragrant and fragrant strands together, and tie the long twigs together. The white-headed lady is not burdened, and the young girl becomes a pavilion, and my brocade is like a future. My mother failed him with her sweet words. My mother, rub the trembling double-headed stamens, cut the fragrant and fragrant strands together, and tie the long twigs together. The white-headed lady is not burdened, and the young girl becomes a pavilion, and my brocade is like a future. My mother failed him with her sweet words. The false reputation earned me by mistake. Part 2, Mo Yun, Shaoxing is drunk and has to resign. Madam, in front of me, I want to express my thoughts in one word, but I don't know if it is possible. In the former case, thieves and bandits are pressing against each other. As my wife said, the one who can defeat the thieves should be his wife Yingying. Shaoxing stepped forward and wrote a letter to General Du. The concubine can almost avoid the misfortune of his wife. Today, Shaoxing is ordered to attend the banquet, which will be a happy occasion. I wonder how Madame will treat her like a brother and sister. Shaoxing did not come here to feed and sip him. If this matter is not harmonious, Shaoxing should resign immediately. Mrs. Cloud. Even if you have the kindness to live with me, sir, Miss Nai will be the Prime Minister of the country in Japan, and she has promised to my nephew Zhengheng. I sent a message to Beijing that day, but I didn't see it coming. If this son comes, what will happen? Instead of paying each other with gold and silk, the gentleman chooses the daughter of a wealthy family and a noble house. Don't ask for it. What do you think, sir? Mo Yun, since my wife won't agree with you, how can I admire the beauty of gold and silk? But don't you say, there are women with beautiful faces like jade in the book? So I'll take my leave today. Madam said, if you stay here, there will be wine today. The matchmaker helped her brother to rest in the study. We have nothing to say until tomorrow. Part 2, Hong Fu Mo Ku, Final Thoughts. If you have a chance, you can only stay through the night in Shaoxi, but if you have no chance, you will never see the wedding spring. The matchmaker helped her brother to rest in the study. We have nothing to say until tomorrow. Part 2, Hong Fu Mo Ku, Final Thoughts. If you have a chance, you can only stay through the night in Shaoxi, but if you have no chance, you will never see the wedding spring. Hong Yun, Zhangsheng, it's not good to eat less. Mo Yun, what shall I eat? Moku Honka. Shaoxing is a young lady. She forgets to eat and sleep day and night. Her soul is tired and her dreams are broken. She often feels like she is missing something. As soon as I saw him in the temple, he was separated by a wall, waiting for the moon and the wind, and suffered infinite pain. Just as they were able to get married, the wife changed her mind, leaving the young man exhausted. When did this happen? How can the young lady take pity on Shaoxing? She expresses this intention to the young lady, knowing Shaoxing's heart. He took off his belt in front of the young lady and committed suicide. Final thoughts. It's a pity that my ambition is hanging high, and I'm in danger of leaving my hometown and leaving my soul behind. Red Cloud. There's so much cheap firewood on the street, it'll burn you, stupid corner. Don't panic, I will make plans with you. Mo Yun, where is the plan? Young men should build altars to worship generals. Hong Yun, I see that my husband has a bag of harps, and I must be good at it. My lady admires Qin deeply. This evening, I went to the garden with my lady to burn incense, but when I heard the command to cough, my husband acted. I watched what my lady said when she heard it, and she understood what my husband said. If you have something to say, I will come back tomorrow to report it. Sooner or later, I am afraid that my wife will look for me and go back. Next, the second book, The Fifth Fold, Moshanjian. The words of the matchmaker are deeply interesting. It's getting late, Yuer, could you come out earlier? Burning incense, yeah, but it's too early to beat the bell, yeah, it's too early to hit the bell. Doing music Xinha. Shaoxing has been with the lake and sea for several years. Shaoxing has been with the lake and sea for several years. This great achievement tonight is all based on your divine product, golden emblem, jade, snake belly, broken pattern, yang, jiaowei, and bingxian. Oh my gosh! But how could I borrow a favorable wind? Who will blow the sound of Xiaoxing's piano into the ears of my dear lady, who is carved from jade and kneaded from powder? Once the red light comes up, the red clouds, come and burn incense, what a bright moon. Dan Yun, nothing has been accomplished, burning incense will help. You are reunited, but how can we have children? Yu Jiao, fighting quails, the clouds gather in the clear sky, and the ice will suddenly surges, the wind sweeps away the remaining red, and the fragrant steppes are crowded, there are thousands of separation and sorrow, and thousands of idle sorrows. Madam, there is no beginning, and there is an end. Yu Jiao, fighting quails, the clouds gather in the clear sky, and the ice will suddenly surges, the wind sweeps away the remaining red, and the fragrant steppes are crowded, there are thousands of separation and sorrow, and thousands of idle sorrows. Madam, there is no beginning, and there is an end. He became the lover in the shadow, and I became the pet in the painting. Purple Flower Preface. Then I end up thinking about it in my heart, mentioning it in my mouth, and then I want to meet in my dream. My mother opened the East Pavilion yesterday, and I asked, how can a cannon and a phoenix cook a dragon? Hazy, can you teach me the green sleeves hold the jade bell diligently, but not the master's affection? Because the brother and sister are closely related, it is difficult to get along with each other. Hong Yun, sister, look at the moon. Will there be wind tomorrow? Dan Yun, there are winds and moons in the sky, but there are no good things in the world. Little Tao Hong, watching the waves in the world, her jade face is, because the brother and sister are closely related, it is difficult to get along with each other. Hong Yun, sister, look at the moon. Will there be wind tomorrow? Dan Yun, there are winds and moons in the sky, but there are no good things in the world. Little Tao Hong, watching the waves in the world, her jade face is locked in the embroidered curtain, for fear of being teased. Thinking of Chang'e. If there is no east and west, who will share it? Blame God, Pei Hang does not dream of traveling to immortality. The clouds are as heavy as my silk curtains, but they are afraid that Chang'e's heart will be moved, so they surround Guanghan Palace. Hong is in the cough department, Mo Yun is here. Doing music. Danyan, what is this noise? Red hair section Dan sing. Tianjingsha, could it be that the baby is wearing an exquisite bun? Could it be that the skirt is dragging and ringing? Could it be that there is a sudden wind in front of the eaves of the iron horse? Could it be that the golden hook dual control jingle is ringing the curtain? Teasing order, could it be that the Brahma Palace is ringing the bell at night? Could it be that Shuxiaxia Kujian's home? Could it be that the sound of a ruler and scissors comes to you? Could it be that there is a leaking sound and a long dripping sound that rings the copper of the kettle? I leaned back and listened again to the east corner of the wall. It turned out to be the Lilian silk-tongue tree near the west wing. Bald seer, his voice is strong, like a cavalryman's swords and guns, his voice is quiet. It is like falling flowers melting in flowing water, its sound is high, like the clear wind and the bright moon, and the chirping of cranes in the sky, its sound is low, like listening to the voices of children, chirping in the small window. Holy Medicine King, his thoughts are endless, but here my thoughts have been understood, and the male and female of Jiaowan, chicks and phoenixes have lost their sex. While his song has not yet ended, my thoughts have become stronger. Jingnai shrike and flying swallows fly to the west and east, all in silence. I approached the book window and listened. Hong Yun, sister, just listen here. I think my wife will be here soon. Mo Yun, there is someone outside the window. It must be a lady. I will change the strings, play a song, and sing a song. It's called Feng Qiu Huang. In the past, Sima Xiangru was able to accomplish this piece of music. Although I am not as good as Xiangru, I hope that Miss Wenjun will do so. Song, there is a beauty here, I will never forget it when I see it. Not seeing you for a day makes me miss you like crazy. The phoenix is flying gracefully, and people are seeking it from all over the world. Unfortunately, the beauty is not on the east wall. Zhang Xian spoke on behalf of him, wanting to express his sincere feelings. When will I see Su Shi and comfort my hesitation? May your words be worthy of your virtue, and join hands to fight. If I can't fly, I will perish. Danyan, you can play it well. His words are sad and his meaning is profound. It's as sad as the sky with cranes chirping, so I made my concubine burst into tears when she heard it. Malanga, this is to make others listen and express one's feelings. Those who are close friends are heartbroken and understand themselves, while those who are grateful are heartbroken and grieved. Yupian, this article is different from this one. It's not like hearing the bell at night. He is neither a yellow crane nor a drunkard, nor is he a weeping lin or a sad phoenix. Luosi Nyang, each word is longer and longer, and the sound is wider and looser. Don't hate separation and become a nanny. Zhang Sheng, the more you teach people to know the importance. Mo Yun, madam, please be ungrateful. Miss, you are also lying. Danyan, you shamed me and blamed me. Dong Yuanlo, this is my mother's trick, and it is my concubine's escape. If it is up to me, I beg you to follow Wanfeng's example. My mother has no sleep and is a female worker. If I have some free time, Zhang Sheng will do it. How can I teach you to recite my concubine's body when there is no one around? Mian Zexu, the curtains are sparse and the wind is thin, and the lights in the secluded room are clear. They are all made of a layer of red paper, and a few trees are sparse. It's not like there are tens of thousands of clouds and mountains separated. How can I get personal information? Pass. Then he made the 12 witch peaks. He also wrote a poem to Gao Tang in his dream. Hong Yun, madam is looking for a young lady, please come to our house. Dansheng, Zhuolusu, saw him coming in a hurry. How could he not teach others to hate the rush? It scares people. It has not moved for a long time, but the girl's throat is ringing. If I rub him tightly and hold him back with a rope, I'm afraid my wife will bury me. Hong Yun, how about my sister playing the piano? Zhang asked me to tell my sister that he was going back. Dan Yun, my dear sister, I will live with him for a while. Hong Yun, what else can you say? Dan Yun. Go ahead. And, said, Madam, there are people muttering at the moment, so I hope you will be disappointed. How could I be willing to say goodbye to Zhiqingzhong without asking about my cruel mother? The third book, Wedge. Dan Shangyan since listening to the piano that night. I heard that Zhang Sheng was ill, so I went to the academy with my matchmaker to see what he had to say. Called Hongka, Hong Shangyan, my sister called me, I don't know what happened, I need to ask for it. Danyan, you feel so unhappy, why don't you come to see me? Hong Yun, do you want to Zhang, Dan Yun? Zhang what? Hong Yun, I am open to my sister. Dan Yun, I have something for you and me. Red Cloud, what's going on? Dan Yun, you and I will watch Zhang Sheng walk around and see what he says. You can answer my questions. Hong Yun, I won't go, madam knows it's not a joke. Dan Yun. Good sister, if I bow to you twice, you will come with me. Hong Yun, sir, please get up. I'll go. Said, Zhang Sheng, you are so ill, so my sister is not weak either. Just, good sister, if I bow to you twice, you will come with me. My sister has no intention of picking up her needlework, and the fragrance of makeup and powder makes her lazy to add some. The hatred of spring presses on the tip of my eyebrows. If I could gain some clarity, I would be able to cure the illness. Part 2, Dan Yun, the matchmaker has gone. My sister has no intention of picking up her needlework, and the fragrance of makeup and powder makes her lazy to add some. The hatred of spring presses on the tip of my eyebrows. If I could gain some clarity, I would be able to cure the illness. Part 2, Dan Yun, the matchmaker has gone. I'll see what he says when he comes back. I'll have my own idea. Part 2. The third book, the first fold. Mo Shangyun, it is also harmful to kill young people. After listening to the piano that night, I could no longer see my lady. I told the elder that I was leaving and said that Zhang Sheng was very ill, but why didn't anyone come to see me? But thinking about it, I'll sleep some more. Read Shangyun, Mo Shangyun, it is also harmful to kill young people. After listening to the piano that night, I could no longer see my lady. I told the elder that I was leaving and said that Zhang Sheng was very ill, but why didn't anyone come to see me? But thinking about it, I'll sleep some more. Read Shangyun, Miss Feng's words. If I look at Zhang Sheng, I need to ask him to go away. I think every one of our families, if it weren't for Zhang Sheng, how could our family survive? Xian Lu, Dian Jiang Lip, Xiangguo went to the ancestral hall and stayed in Shao Temple. Due to the funeral, the young daughter Huer wanted to join the army and died. Han Jianglong, Xie Zhangxing extended his ambition. When a letter arrives, the army will start. It seems that the article is useful, which shows that the world is selfless. If we hadn't cut the grass and eradicated 500,000 thieves, my whole family would have been almost wiped out. Ying Juanrui promised a male or female betrothed. The wife broke her promise and made excuses. The marriage was ruined. As a brother and sister. Now that they are all getting married, one person is filled with sorrow and the beauty in his chest is blooming, and the other person is rouged with tears on his face. Yu Gord, Pan Lang is haggard and has hair on his temples. Du Weinyang is not like the old days. Her girth is wider and her waist is slimmer. One is too sleepy to read the classics and history, the other is too lazy to pick up the needle and thread. One is playing up the tune of Silk Tongue to compose a score of sorrow. One is deleting it into heartbroken poems on the One is too sleepy to read the classics and history. The other is too lazy to pick up the needle and thread. One is playing up the tune of Silk Tongue to compose a score of sorrow. One is deleting it into heartbroken poems on the flower paper. One is writing down feelings in his pen, and one string is conveying his thoughts. I was equally lovesick both times. Fong believes that there are talented men and beautiful women. When the matchmaker looks at her, she seems a little surly, and she is afraid that the lover will not get what she wants. This is also the case. I was equally lovesick both times. Fong believes that there are talented men and beautiful women. When the matchmaker looks at her, she seems a little surly, and she is afraid that the lover will not get what she wants. This is also the case. He was a bit charming, and I didn't think twice about it, so I arranged to die of haggard. But I came to the academy early. I moistened the broken window paper with my saliva to see what he was doing in the study. Drums in the village, I will break the paper window and peek in quietly. Most of the time, I slept with my clothes on, and my shirt was pleated on the front. But I came to the academy early. I moistened the broken window paper with my saliva to see what he was doing in the study. Drums in the village, I will break the paper window and peek in quietly. Most of the time, I slept with my clothes on, and my shirt was pleated on the front. The smell of sleeping alone. Desolate mood, no one to wait for you. I looked at his sluggish complexion, heard his weak breath, and looked at his thin, yellow face. Zhang Sheng, if you don't suffocate to death, you will probably die. Yuan He Ling, Jean Chai knocks on the door and fan. Moyun, who is it? I am a lovesick messenger of the 5 plagues. My lady is thinking about having a matchmaker come to visit me late at night when the wind is clear and the moon is clear. Mo Yun, since the young lady is here, the young lady must have something to say. Red Singh, my lady has not applied any makeup so far, thinking of the 1,000 imperial examinations. Mo Yun, since the young lady has a heart of pity, Shaoxing has a simple message, and he dares to bother the young lady to understand her deepest feelings. Hong Yun, I'm just afraid that he will turn his back on me. Shang Ma Jiao, if he saw this poem and read the words, he would dare to confuse it and waste his energy. He pulled up his face and said, "Whose words will you find out? How dare this girl act so recklessly? How dare he sneer and make a note? Mo Yun, Shaoxing will pay more and more money and silk to the young lady." Hong Sing. Sheng Hulu, hey, you, he is a greedy, sour and careless person. Showing off that you have possessions, why don't you come here to seek your things? Your husband's money and goods, as rewards with your matchmaker, are they the funds for my love for you? Yuppian, you see people like peaches and plums branching outside the wall in the spring breeze, leaning against the door in a pretty way. Although I am a mother-in-law, showing off that you have possessions, why don't you come here to seek your things? Your husband's money and goods, as rewards with your matchmaker, are they the funds for my love for you? Yuppian, you see people like peaches and plums branching outside the wall in the spring breeze, leaning against the door in a pretty way. Although I am a mother-in-law, I am ambitious. Then he said, "It's so pitiful that the boy is alone." He had a thought. Mo Yun, I was leaning on my sister, but it was a pity to see the boy alone. Hung, then he said, "It's so pitiful that the boy is alone." He had a thought. Mo Yun, I was leaning on my sister, but it was a pity to see the boy alone. Hong Yun, it's not true. You right, and we will go with you. Mo Shu Ku, Hong Yun, is well written. Read and listen to me. The last reading says, Gongbai worships and writes to Fang Qin, Karen's Wangxi, "Since I have left my appearance, I have lost all my beauty, and I am extremely sad." Who would have thought that if the wife turned her favor into a grudge and changed her previous marriage, wouldn't it be considered a breach of trust? Make the young student look at the east wall. I wish I could have my armpits and wings on your left and right sides. I will suffer from thirst and will die one day. Because the matchmaker is here, she talks about numbers to express her feelings. If you feel pity for me, I will throw the book down, and the common people can still maintain it. If you make a mistake, please forgive me. It later became a 5-character poem. He recorded it in a book. His lovesickness and hatred turned to him, and he played with the Yaoqin. Pleasure comes in spring again, and your heart is moved. This sentiment cannot be violated. Why should we be honored? Don't miss the brightness of the moon and pity the heavy shadows of flowers. Hong Sing, backcourt flower, I will write the paper with Fu Hua Jian. It turned out that he had no idea when he died frost. First write a few lines of cold and warm preface, and then inscribe a 5-character and 8-line poem. When not moving, fold the flower paper and brocade characters into a concentric shape called fang shinger. Too smart, too thoughtful, too romantic, too prodigal. Although it's a pretense, it turned out that he had no idea when he died frost. First write a few lines of cold and warm preface, and then inscribe a 5-character and 8-line poem. When not moving, fold the flower paper and brocade characters into a concentric shape called fang shinger. Too smart, too thoughtful, too romantic, too prodigal. Although it's a pretense, Chinger write the 2 characters upside down. Fang Xindao says, "Be ambitious in your heart. Mo Yun, my sister is about to go, so you must be careful. Hong Sing, look at the mood between happiness and anger. Don't worry, bachelor wave. I am willing to do it, and I will not refuse. I have my own words." Then he said, "The man who played the piano last night was teaching. This is a brief message. I will go with you. Sir, you should take fame as your priority and don't lose your ambition. Parasite grass, you are going to steal the fragrance and prepare to break the cinnamon branch. Hugh teach that obscene word to taint the word dragon and snake. The man who played the piano last night was teaching. This is a brief message. I will go with you. Sir, you should take fame as your priority and don't lose your ambition. Parasite grass, you are going to steal the fragrance and prepare to break the cinnamon branch. The lotus root silk binds the wings of the rock, and the yellow oriole seizes the ambition of the swan. Don't miss your 3 bachelors of gold and horse in Yutong, because of this beautiful lady in the brocade curtain. Mo Yun, sister cares about you. Red cloud, don't worry, don't worry. The lotus root silk binds the wings of the rock, and the yellow oriole seizes the ambition of the swan. Don't miss your 3 bachelors of gold and horse in Yutong, because of this beautiful lady in the brocade curtain. Mo Yun, sister cares about you. Red cloud, don't worry, don't worry. She looks less lovesick. Then when the expression of love between your eyebrows and eyes is not over, the center hides it day and night. How dare you say that? There is beauty here. I must teach you to return to this piece of paper. The words on the tip of my tongue, and the thoughts in this simple post. Discipline that person to visit you. Part 2, Mo Yun, the young lady sent the brief note. It was not a message from the young man, but a talisman and seal script for a kiss. When he replies tomorrow, there must be a sequence. Don't worry, you have to ask for good news. Let's use romantic strategy. Send it to Pudong's graceful mother. Part 2, the 3rd book, the 2nd fold, Dan Shangyun. The matchmaker waited on the old lady and had no time to go to the toilet, so she dared to stay here morning and evening. I got up a little early, and I was sleepy. I'll sleep some more. Sleeping section, read Shangyun. I went to see Zhang Xing according to the lady's words, but because I was waiting on the old lady, I didn't reply to the lady's words. If you don't hear the sound, you dare to sleep. I'll go in and take a look. Zhonglu, pink butterfly. The wind is calm and the curtains are idle. The fragrance of musk orchid is scattered through the screen window, and the red door is opened and the double rings are ringing. Jiangtai is high. The gold lotus is small, but the silver lotus is still brilliant. After flicking on the warm curtain, he first lifted up the plum-red soft curtain and took a peek. Drunken spring breeze. Then I saw his hairpin and jade hair slanted horizontally, and his bun was tilted to the side with clouds. The sun is high and I still don't know my eyes. It's lazy and lazy to be happy. Once I stood up and sighed, Red Sing. He raised his body for a while, scratched his ears several times, and let out a long sigh. I will send him the brief message later. I am afraid that my lady has many lies. I put this simple note on the makeup box to see what he would say when he saw it. Once you have an optometrist examination, please see the post to see the examination. Pushing, evening makeup is left behind, dark clouds are looming over her face. She evens out her powdered face and rolls up her maidservant in disorder. Pick up the slips of paper, press the makeup box, open the cover and read carefully, turning it over and over without getting upset. Dan shouted angrily, Matchmaker. Hongswa Iyun, yeah, it's time to let it go. Zoji frowned in disgust. Danyun, little bitch, why don't you come? Zoji frowned in disgust. Danyun, little bitch, why don't you come? Red Singing, the sudden waves lowered her pink neck, and the sultry smile changed her beauty. Danyun, little bitch, where did this thing come from? I am the lady of Xiangua. Who dares to tease me with this simple post? How often am I used to seeing this kind of thing? Tell the madam to cut you off, you little bitch. Hong Yun, the lady will send me away, and he will keep me coming. I am illiterate, what do you think he wrote? Happy 3. It's obviously your fault, so you tortured me for no reason. You don't get used to making others upset and disgusted, but who has? Sister, please stop making trouble, until you tell the madam. I will send this brief note to the madam's house. Once I'm done grabbing the subject, I'm teasing you. Hong Yun, let go and watch what happens next. Danyan, how is Zhangxing doing these days? Hong Yun, I won't say. Danyan, good sister, please tell me and listen to me. Hong Xing, Chao Tianzi, Zhangxing has a close appearance and a face that is so thin that it is really ugly. Not thinking about food and tea, afraid of waiting to move. Looking forward to good times at dawn and night, I forget to eat and sleep. In the evening of Qing Dynasty, I looked at the east wall and my eyes filled with tears. Danyun, ask a good imperial doctor to look at his symptoms. Hong Yun, his syndrome is not effective with medicine. Looking forward to good times at dawn and night, I forget to eat and sleep. In the evening of Qing Dynasty, I looked at the east wall and my eyes filled with tears. Danyun, ask a good imperial doctor to look at his symptoms. Hong Yun, his syndrome is not effective with medicine. The patient must be safe except for a few winds and sweats. Danyun, matchmaker, when I don't look at you. I will watch with the old lady to see how he looks when he meets the madam. Although my family is indebted to him, it is just a brother-sister relationship, nothing to do with it. Matchmaker, you have always been honest. If others knew about it, what would it look like? Hong Yun, who are you coaxing? You have driven this hungry ghost to death, but what are you going to do? Quiet on all sides, afraid of being provoked, morning and evening, madam, we will see some flaws. How can you and I be safe? Why is he in danger? After breaking the pole, I lifted up the ladder and took a look. Danyan, bring the pen over. I wrote that I will go back to him and hope that he will not be like this next time. Once I'm done writing subjects, getting up and answering questions, matchmaker, you are going to say, when a young lady visits her husband, she treats her brother and sister like this, and she has no intention of doing so. If you see me like this again, I will tell my wife to know. I have something to say to you, little bitch. Dan throws the book under, Red sings, take off the shirt, the child's mouth is not covered, and he blindly destroys his words. Don't think about how talented you are and how much you can do to be a good person. Hongswa shishuk, ziliangzwu. He sleeps alone and sleeps together in your dream, forgetting all the sleep and meals. Luo e can't help but feel the cold at dawn, endless sorrow, loneliness, and tears. Yuppian, it seems that I have high hopes for good things in this time. He sleeps alone and sleeps together in your dream, forgetting all the sleep and meals. Luo e can't help but feel the cold at dawn, endless sorrow, loneliness, and tears. I dressed up the feast head and made a seamed mountain. Hong Yun, if I don't come and go, if I disobey him, he will wait for me to repay him in that life, and I will have to take it away. Part 2, Last Cloud. The matchmaker Shu Qian was about to leave, but she didn't reply. I'll send you this book. It will definitely happen, sooner or later I dare to come. Hong Shangyun, we must ask Zhang Xing's words back. Miss, you are so spoiled. If you had the heart of yesterday, how can you have the heart of today? Pomegranate flower that day, the apricot blossoms were still hanging on the night makeup upstairs, and I was still timid about my clothes. The heart that listens to the piano is clear and clear in the moonlight. Yesterday, I was so late that I was not afraid of the cold spring and almost got eaten by a mister, for a man who is neither bitter nor jealous. The wall has been transformed into Wangfu Mountain. Fighting quail. You move the rain and stir up the clouds with your heart, and I send letters and letters with good intentions. If you are not willing to search for your own arrogance, you will be. You move the rain and stir up the clouds with your heart, and I send letters and letters with good intentions. If you are not willing to search for your own arrogance, you will be looking for flaws in others. I endured this when I was roasted by AI. To be happy is to be treacherous. Zhang Sheng is a brother and sister, how dare you do this? He said sweet words in front of others. When there is no one around, I miss Zhang Sheng, and secretly frown and cry. Hongjian Mok, Moyun, the little lady is here. Optimus Prime, what happened? Hong Yun, it won't help. Sir, don't be stupid. When there is no one around, I miss Zhang Sheng, and secretly frown and cry. Hongjian Mok, Moyun, the little lady is here. Optimus Prime, what happened? Hong Yun, it won't help. Sir, don't be stupid. Mo Yun, Xiaoxing's simple post is a talisman for marriage. This is because the young lady is careless and does this on purpose. Hong Yun, I don't care. It's fair to say that your simple post is very nice. Go up to the small building. This is a husband's frugality, not a matchmaker's disobedience. That brief post turned out to be your trick. This is because the young lady is careless and does this on purpose. Hong Yun, I don't care. It's fair to say that your simple post is very nice. Go up to the small building. This is a husband's frugality, not a matchmaker's disobedience. If you don't look down on your face, look forward to me, worry about being slighted, and your husband suffers, then it is natural for you to be polite. What's wrong with this humble concubine? Fight for a while and drag your mother into crime. Yuppian, from now on, we will see each other less and harder. The moon is dark in the west chamber, the phoenix goes to Qin Tower, and the clouds gather in Wushan. You believe it, and I believe it too. Sir, please stop talking and find someone to go to. Hong Yun, I don't have to complain from the bottom of my heart anymore. I'm afraid my wife will find her, so I'll go back. Mo Yun, after this little lady is gone, who will be separated from Xiaoxing? I must do something to save Xiaoxing's life. At the end, he knelt down and grabbed Honka. Hong Yun, Mr. Zhang is a scholar. Don't you know this? You can know what happened. Man Ting Fong, don't stay. At the end, he knelt down and grabbed Honka. Hong Yun, Mr. Zhang is a scholar. Don't you know this? You can know what happened. Man Ting Fong, don't stay here and commit adultery. You want to be full of kindness, but you teach me to destroy my flesh and blood. The old lady held a stick in her hand and looked at it. Thick hemp thread needs to be closed with a needle. I waited until I was lazing around on a crutch, stitching my lips together to keep me warm and cold. Thick hemp thread needs to be closed with a needle. I waited until I was lazing around on a crutch, stitching my lips together to keep me warm and cold. Waiting to go, the lady's temperament is like a pinch of salt into the fire, and the news is spreading, but not waiting. Kneel down and cry at the end. Xiaosheng's life depends on the little lady. I can't tolerate your sweet words. It's good that I can't do anything for you. I have no reason to explain. The lady returns your book. You can read it yourself. End of taking courses, starting to study. Oh, it's such a happy event. I will gather some earth and burn incense, and I will pray 3 times. I had known that Miss Jian was here. If you are reasonable and far away, if you don't receive enough, don't let anyone see you guilty. Little lady, I am happy with you too. Red cloud, what? Mo Yun, Miss scolding me is all lies. The meaning in the book is that I come to the garden tonight and liabali eluo with him. Hong Yun, you read and I listen. Moyun. When the moon is under the west wing, the door facing the wind is half open, and the shadows of flowers on the partition wall are moving, and it is suspected that a beautiful lady is coming. Hong Yun, how can I see that he came after you? Please tell me and listen to us. Moyun, wait for the moon under the west chamber, and let me see the moon coming up. The door facing the wind is half open. He opened the door to wait for me. Partition wall, the shadows of flowers move. I think it's a beautiful lady. He asked me to jump over the wall. Hong Xiaoyun, he asked you to jump over the wall, and you did it. Is that what you said? Mo Yun, I am a socialist who guesses poetry and riddles. The romantic Sueha, the prodigal Lu Jia, I have a bad business there. Hong Yun. Look at my sister, she behaves like this in my profession. Playing with children, I have often seen people sending letters upside down and hiding things from Yuyan, and sometimes they are very cautious. It says, waiting for the moon, in the west wing until late, and asking you to jump off the east wall with the word female next to the word qian. It turns out that the poem contains late-night dates, and the simple post contains Jiuli Mountain. He cares about others, but you will find peace in the midst of the storm, and I will take a break from my busy schedule by sending messages. For evils, the paper is made of bright jade, and the words are fragrant with musk orchid. Are you drenched in spring sweat while walking? The tears of love are red and still wet when I keep my mouth shut. The paper is full of spring sorrow and the ink is not yet dry. From now on, there will be no more problems. Be assured of being a bachelor of Bo Yutong, and keep your love for the golden bird and crow. 3 evils. If someone performs a different kind of kiss, I'll take a look at it. Meng Guang took over Liang Hong's case. The sweet words and kind words of others are warm in 3 winters, but the hurtful words in front of me are cold in 6 months. Meng Guang took over Liang Hong's case. The sweet words and kind words of others are warm in 3 winters, but the hurtful words in front of me are cold in 6 months. I look at it for the boss. Look at you, a beautiful girl who has left her soul. How can you pay for the consequences? Hongshan, Shah, the flowers on the partition wall are low, and the door facing the wind is half-tied, so I will press it now to steal the fragrance. If you are afraid of the high wall, how can you jump on the dragon gate? If you are afraid of the dense flowers, it is difficult to climb the fairy osmanthus. Don't worry, don't be afraid to say goodbye. If you don't go, you will see through the autumn water and the pale spring mountains. Moyun. Shaoxing had been to that garden twice before, but he didn't see any benefit. So what would he do if he knew about it this time? Hong Yun, today is no different than usual. Shawei, although you have been there twice, I dare say it is not as good as this one. Your talk over the wall is nonsense. The one that proves the result is this simple chapter. Hongxia, Mo Yun, everything has its own destiny. Who would have thought that the lady would benefit from this? Shaoxing is a socialist who guesses poems and riddles. The romantic Sui He and the prodigal Lu Jia fall to the ground when they go there to help the gang. It's so rare to be late today. God, you have all things in human beings, why are you fighting for this day? Go down the wave quickly. I am afraid of dusk after studying, but I don't realize that the west is sinking and I force the door to close. I want to go to the begonia flower for an appointment. Why does the sun have to take root again? Looking at the sky and clouds, yeah, it's only noon. Wait a little longer. Look at the subject again, it's so rare to go down today. The blue sky is cloudless, and the tired guest's body and mind are exhausted. I hate Liu Yang's greed for war, and don't teach the red sun to set in the west. Yeah, but I have already fallen to the west. Please wait for us. The unprovoked three-legged crow is shining with light. How can I get Hoi's bow to shoot this round? Thank heaven and earth. But go down as soon as possible. Yeah, but it was early. Yeah, but the clock has hit early. He pulled the study door shut, and when he got there, he jumped over the wall holding Chueyang Diliu in his arms. Part 2, the third book, the third fold, read Shangyun. Today, the lady asked me to send a letter to Zhang Sheng. She pretended to be there in person, but it turns out that she secretly made an appointment with him in the poem. The lady didn't tell me, and I didn't see through him, so I asked him to burn incense. The makeup department is different tonight than every... Today, the lady asked me to send a letter to Zhang Sheng. She pretended to be there in person, but it turns out that she secretly made an appointment with him in the poem. The lady didn't tell me, and I didn't see through him, so I asked him to burn incense. The makeup department is different tonight than every day. I saw how he could hide it from me during this time. Honghuang, sister, let's burn incense and come. Once on the clouds, the shades of flowers overlap and the fragrance is gentle, the courtyard is deep and the moon is bright. Red cloud, tonight the moon is bright and the wind is clear, what a sight. Double tone new water order the evening wind is cold and blows through the window screen. The gold-controlled embroidery curtain is not hung. The evening mist gathers in the doorway, and the remaining clouds gather in the corner of the building. Just in time for Linghua, let's put on my evening makeup upstairs. The gold-controlled embroidery curtain is not hung. The evening mist gathers in the doorway, and the remaining clouds gather in the corner of the building. Just in time for Linghua, let's put on my evening makeup upstairs. Standing on horseback to listen, not close to the noise, the soft green pond hides sleeping ducks. It is naturally elegant. The hosta grabs the tea frame. The moss was slippery at night, and the dew soaked Lingbo's socks. I think that student and I are eager to be late. Chow Paier, since the beginning of that day, I thought about the moonlight, and every moment seemed like a whole summer. when I saw the sun setting over the willow trees, I said early. It's good to teach virtuous saints how to fight. Zheng Pa, dressed up in a deceitful manner, preparing for the clouds and rain to meet in Wu Gorge. Just for this Yen couple and Ning Ying, they can't lock their minds. Otherwise, my sister will be harmed, then oh my God. The water and rice won't stick to my teeth in the next 2 or 3 days, because my sister is shy of the moon. True or false, the nature of this is difficult to accept, and it can be picked up all over the place. My sister is standing at the foot of the lake and mountain, and I opened the corner door of the temple. I'm afraid someone will listen to me, so I'll take a look. It's intentional, sooner or later, silly horn doesn't come, hee chi, come. Moyun. I happened to go there during this period, hee chi. Red cloud, the bird is here. Intoxicated by the east wind, I thought that the shadow of the locust tree was swaying in the wind, and it turned out to be the black gauze on the side of the jade woman's hat. One is hiding beside the curved sill, and the other is standing with his back at the foot of the lake and mountain. They are talking about the cold and warmth there. Didn't talk. Red cloud, hehechiki, the bird is here. Mo Yun, miss, you are here. Hug Honka, Hong Yun, beast, it's me. Look carefully. What if it's my wife? Didn't talk. Red cloud, hehechiki, the bird is here. Mo Yun, miss, you are here. Hug Honka, Hong Yun, beast, it's me. Look carefully. What if it's my wife? Mo Yun, Shaoxing was so dazzled that he hugged him so much that he panicked and didn't know who it was. I beg for forgiveness. Hong Sing, I was so embarrassed when I said it. You are so jealous of us, don't worry, you are so hungry that your poor god is dazzled. Moyun, where is the lady? Hong Yun, under the lake and mountains, I ask you and me. Did I really come here because of you? Mo Yun, a young student guessing poems and riddles. In the romantic Sui dynasty, Lu Jia, the prodigal son, fell to the ground when he decided to attack Zha Gang. Hong Yun, if you don't go through the door, then I will send you here. You jump over this wall, this will help you two get married tonight. I say to you, rely on me. Qiao Paier. Look at the pale clouds enveloping the moonlight, like red paper protecting silver wax. Under the curtains of willow silk flowers, there is an embroidered couch covered with green sedge. Tian Shui Ling, the good night is far away, the courtyard is silent, and the flower branches are low. He is a girl's family, so be gentle and talkative. The meaning is modest and harmonious. Don't guess that it will be a broken willow or a broken flower. Zhigui Ling, he is a delicate and flawless man, with a pink face full of spring, and clouds and crows on his temples. He is so tired that he is afraid of being frightened, and he does not want to indulge in wine and tea. Then your quilted child will work hard, but your fingers will become exhausted. I sighed and sighed, I put aside my worries, put away my sorrows, and prepared to hold on. End of jumping over the wall and hugging Danke, who is Dan Yun. Mo Yun, he is a niche student. Dan Nguyen, Zhangsheng, what a person you are. I am burning incense here, and you are here for no reason. If Madam heard about it. What's the point? Mo Yun, yeah, it's changed. Hong Sing, Jin Shanghua, is a matchmaker, and has no fear. A tightly knit couple can never argue about their intentions. I'm here quietly listening to you. One is ashamed and the other is angry. Yupian, Zhangsheng said nothing. Ah. Ying changed her mind. One is quiet and the other is chattering. However, Sui he had been restrained for a long time, and Lu Jia was imprisoned. He folded his hands and bowed, making himself deaf and mute. What did Zhang Sheng say behind his back? I hugged Dufan forward and filed a lawsuit. I'm afraid I'll embarrass you. Qingjiang Yin. If there is no one around, you will be chatting idly, and you will be full of cunning. How can you think of being by the lake and mountains without remembering under the west chamber? Xiang Meinyang punishes the broken flower papaya. Dan, matchmaker, there is a thief. Red Cloud, who is it? Mo Yun he is a niche student. Hong Yun, Zhang Sheng, what are you doing here? Dan Yun. Go to the madam. Hong Yun, when I went to see my wife, I was afraid of spoiling his behavior. My sister and I punished him. Zhang Sheng, come here and kneel down. Since you have read the book of Confucius, you must be worthy of the Duke of Zhou. Why are you here at night? Yen Erluo. It's not like my son Xiao works as a yeoman and says a few heartfelt words. I said that you are as rich in literature as you are in the sea. Who knew that you would be so bold in sex? Hong Yun, do you know your guilt? Mo Yun, Shaoxing knows no sin. It's not like my son Xiao works as a yeoman and says a few heartfelt words. I said that you are as rich in literature as you are in the sea. Who knew that you would be so bold in sex? Hong Yun, do you know your guilt? Mo Yun, Shaoxing knows no sin. Red Sing, Victory Order, anyone who wants you to enter someone else's house at night is not a traitor or a thief. You were originally a prize winner, but you became a thief. You don't want to jump into the Dragon's Gate and learn to cheat horses. Sister, please let the matchmaker spare this living person. Dan Yun, if you don't care about the matchmaker, and drag you to the madam, how will you look when you meet Mr. Jiangdong? Stand up. Miss Xia is a wise lady, just look at me and take your fancy. If you look closely at the lawsuit, you will find out, you are a scholar, but you only work hard under the cold window. Who taught you to go into other people's gardens at night and commit adultery or theft? Sir, prepare to be beaten. Dan Yun. Although you have received kindness from a living person, your kindness should be repaid. Since they are brothers and sisters, why do you have such intentions? If the madam knew about it, how could the gentleman feel at ease? Don't do this again in the future. If you do it again, I will never stop fighting with you. Part 2 The Ghost Gate of the Last Dynasty. You follow me. Although you have received kindness from a living person, your kindness should be repaid. Since they are brothers and sisters, why do you have such intentions? If the madam knew about it, how could the gentleman feel at ease? Don't do this again in the future. If you do it again, I will never stop fighting with you. Part 2 The Ghost Gate of the Last Dynasty. You follow me. Why do you talk so much? Red pulls over Mo Yun. It's shameful, but not romantic. Sui he, the prodigal Lu Jia? Mo Yun, if you offend Bo's social family, you will give up your mind early today. Hong Sing. Le Pavilion Banquet with Xie. I won't leave the title, A Moment of Spring Night with 1,000 Gold Steps. Prepare to be a widow for 10 more years in a cold window. The community member who guessed the poetry riddle took pictures of, the door is half open facing the wind, the mountain barrier is, the shadows of flowers on the partition wall are moving, and the green is miserable, waiting for the moon to fall under the west wing. You apply powder on He Lang's face, and he paints his eyebrows. Strong winds and strong emotions. Qin has done with Yu Yunjiyu's heart, regretted stealing jade and fragrant gall, and deleted the words about leaning on the green and leaning against the red. Mo Yun, Shaoxing writes another brief note to express his sincerity to the lady who is about to leave. Hong Sing, the obscene words will stop as soon as possible, and the simple posts will end from now on. Still in ancient times, the method of self-reflection is impermeable to wind and flow. Zhuo Wenjun will regret your sins from now on. You and I will go on a study tour to Bohan and Sima. Part 2. Mo Yun, you, the young lady, have given it away. If Shaoxing no longer dares to raise this thought, his illness will become worse and worse. What will he do? Jian Fang is happy that he came at night, and he has been forced to support her here today. It is worth the resentment, and he can give up after seeing it. Just go back to the study and wonder. The osmanthus falls in idleness, and the locust flower falls in sickness. Part 2, the third book, the fourth fold, Madam ascends to the cloud, the elder said, Jian Fang is happy that he came at night, and he has been forced to support her here today. It is worth the resentment, and he can give up after seeing it. Just go back to the study and wonder. The osmanthus falls in idleness, and the locust flower falls in sickness. Part 2. Said Zhang was seriously ill. I asked the elder to ask an imperial doctor to see him. Ibi said to the matchmaker that he was watching his brother go about his business and asked about the medicine. What kind of medicine should the imperial doctor prescribe? What are the symptoms? Then he replied. Part 2, Hong Shangyun, the old lady just said that Zhang was seriously ill. Why is it that I am so angry now? It is getting worse. Ying, you gave it to someone else. Xia, Dan Shangyun, I will write a brief note and tell you the prescription. I will tell the matchmaker to go to him and the syndrome will be ready. Dan calls Hongke, Hongyun, how about my sister calling the matchmaker? Danyan Zhang is seriously ill. I have a good prescription, and I will go with it. Red Cloud, here he comes again. Mother, don't give it away to anyone else. Danyan, good sister, save someone's life and you will go to me. Hongyun, if it weren't for you, you wouldn't be able to save him in this lifetime. I have a good prescription, and I will go with it. Red Cloud, here he comes again. Mother, don't give it away to anyone else. Danyan, good sister, save someone's life and you will go to me. I will go for a walk with you. Part 2, Danyun, the matchmaker has gone, and I am waiting for his reply in the embroidery room. Part 2, Modern Cloud, ever since I had this bad experience in the garden last night, I have been suffering from the old symptoms, and I can't stand it anymore. The old lady said, the elder called the imperial doctor to see me. My symptoms of depression cannot be cured by the imperial doctor. Otherwise, unless the lady is sweet, fragrant, cool and delicate, swallow a little bit of saliva, this bird disease will, that's it. Jia Yin, imperial physician, enters. Shuang Do Yi has passed the test. Part 2, Jia Yun, the medicine has been administered. I will reply to Madam and see you again soon. Part 2, Hong Shangyun, my lady sent someone like this, and asked me to ask questions and give him prescriptions. As a result, Shuang Do Yi has passed the test. Part 2, Jia Yun, the medicine has been administered. I will reply to Madam and see you again soon. Part 2, Hong Shangyun, my lady sent someone like this, and asked me to ask questions and give him prescriptions. As a result, he became seriously ill. I asked for it. It's easy to get divorced in a foreign land, but it's hard to cure a heartbroken person with wonderful medicine. Yu Tiao, fighting quails, will inscribe poems for you with colored pens and weave tapestry with palindrome. It will make people lie on their pillows on their beds, forgetting meals and sleeping. Their temples will be broken as if they are worried, and their waist will be as heavy as a disease. The hatred is deep and the disease is serious. Last night, a hot-faced person was fighting for love, and today, a cold-mouthed person is attacking someone. You snatched him away like this last night. Preface to Purple Flower. It seems that you are leaning against the gate to wait for the moon, cooperating poems in rhyme, and listening to the piano with your ears tilted. When I saw him, he said so many words. Zhang Sheng, what kind of gift do you and I have to each other as brothers and sisters? When I saw him, he said so many words. Zhang Sheng, what kind of gift do you and I have to each other as brothers and sisters? Fortunately, I am as diligent as a thread and never leave the needle. From now on, it's my old lattice fault to teach him a new job. The general's righteousness, sea, and grace are all far away. Hong Jian Mo Wen Yun, how is my brother's condition? Mo Yun, harming the young man. If I die, little lady, you will be a co-worker in front of the king of hell's palace. Red sighing cloud, there is no one in the world who is more lovesick than a fool like you. If you don't have the heart to study in the sea and the forest, you can't dream without the shadows of willows and flowers. Then go there and steal jade and incense to use your heart. Nothing has been gained since Hai Tang opened his mind to this day. Why are you so sick? Mo Yun, it's all because of you. I'm afraid of telling lies, because I waited until I grew up, one by one died in anger in the study that night. Saved lives. Instead he was killed. Since ancient times, it has been said, a crazy woman will betray her heart. Today it is the opposite. Hong Sing, I am self-examination here. This disease is caused by sexual immorality. Corpses, bones, rocks and ghosts are infected by the disease. Taoist scholars have always been so free to have lovesickness like this. In terms of career and fame, things are not going as planned, and in terms of marriage, things are going back and forth again and again. Hong Yun, the old lady asked me to come and see what kind of soup my brother wants. The lady paid her respects again and again, and brought a prescription to her husband. Where is Matapank? Hong Yun, I use several kinds of herbal medicines. Each has its own system, let me tell you, little Taohong. Osmanthus shakes its shadow in the deep night, and Angelica is soaked in sour vinegar. Mo Yun, Osmanthus fragrans is warm in nature and Angelica sinensis activates blood circulation. How can it create a system? Hong Sing, facing the lake and mountains in the shade, this place is the most difficult to find. 1 serving and 2 servings are very satisfying. Moyun. What should you avoid? Hong Sing, what is taboo is that anima mu is not sleeping, but what is feared is matchmaker sakin. Eat it and take the Shijunzi star ginseng for stability. This prescription was written by Miss Fong herself. Mo read the prescription and laughed at the subject. Mo Yun, if I had known that my sister was coming, we would have only stayed away from each other. Little lady, Hong Yun, so what? But it happened twice earlier. Mo Yun, I don't know the meaning of this poem, but the young lady is doing Li Yibwa with Shaoxing. Hong Yun, a little less? Ghost Santai, the steps are actually solid, and the clothes are off, swallowing by mouth. Laughing at you, you are a devilish Hanlon, you have nowhere to ask for good news. Report to Jian Tire. I got a piece of paper as thick as a needle. How could I be imprisoned if I saw the jade heaven immortal? My young lady is ungrateful and humiliated. What does the book say? You read and I listen. Moon thoughts cloud, don't dwell on the pain of idle things. Take time to destroy talented people. Unexpectedly, if I fulfilled my concubine's destiny at that time, how could I prevent disaster for you today? It is difficult to follow the etiquette if you look up to someone who is virtuous, but I would like to offer you new poems as a guide. Take time to destroy talented people. Unexpectedly, if I fulfilled my concubine's destiny at that time, how could I prevent disaster for you today? It is difficult to follow the etiquette if you look up to someone who is virtuous, but I would like to offer you new poems as a guide. I send a message to Xiu of the Tang Dynasty, and the rain clouds are coming tonight. This rhyme is different from the day before. The lady will definitely come. Red cloud. How can he be born if he comes? Bald guy, he was lying in a quilt with a 3-foot yao-chin on his head. How could he sleep with you when he came? It's so cold that I'm trembling with fear. How can I say that I know the sound? Holy medicine king, if you have a heart, he has a heart. Yesterday the swing and the courtyard were deep, the flowers had shade. The moon is cloudy, and a moment of spring night is worth 1,000 pieces of gold. Why do you need to recite poems to the family members? Mo Yun, Shaoxing has 10 tails of flowers and silver, so he can give him 1 payment for his betting. Red Sing, Dongyuan music, my Mandarin duck pillow and jade quilt have killed people's hearts. How can I trust it? What more will you be afraid of if you don't take off your clothes? It's not as strong as holding the fingertips in your hand. If you get married, you will be blessed with blessings. Mo Yun, Shaoxing has such a beautiful face for a young lady. Could it be that the young lady also loses her charm for a young lady? Red Sing. Mayan Taixu. His eyebrows are curved and the distant mountains are paved with green, his eyes are clear of autumn water, his body is like a crisp, and his waist is like a tender willow. He is as handsome as his face and pretty as his heart, with a gentle body and a calm personality. Even though I don't know how to use magical acupuncture and moxibustion, it is better than guanxian to save suffering. Mo Yun, things will happen tonight. Shaoxing dare not forget. Hong Sing, Yuppian, you are chanting in your mouth and searching hard in your dreams. The past has faded away, all I can say is the present, and we will meet again tonight. If I don't want you to have a white wall with gold, I want you to have a head full of flowers and a brocade covering the floor. Mo Yun, I'm afraid that my wife will arrest me. Can't come out. Hong Yun, I'm afraid that the young lady can't come out. Hong Yun, I'm afraid that the young lady won't agree, but if you want to. Sha Wei, although the old lady is guarding the door at dawn, I still have to teach you how to do it. Mo Yun, it seems that I refused last night. Hong Yun, you try to figure it out, it's up to him whether he wants to or not when the season comes. It's up to you whether to kiss or not when the time comes. Come down, Luosi Nyang's evil tale, because of the rumors and messages tonight, I hope tomorrow will bring clouds and rain. The 4th book, Wedge, Dan Shangyun, last night the matchmaker sent a message to Jian to meet Zhang Sheng, and made an appointment to meet him tonight, waiting for the matchmaker to come and discuss it. Hong Shangyun, my sister asked me to send a brief message to Zhang Sheng, asking him to go to an appointment tonight. I'm afraid that my young lady will tell lies again and cost him his life. It's not a joke. I'll go see the lady and see what he says. Hong Shangyun, my sister asked me to send a brief message to Zhang Sheng, asking him to go to an appointment tonight. I'm afraid that my young lady will tell lies again and cost him his life. It's not a joke. I'll go see the lady and see what he says. Danyan the matchmaker tidied up the bedroom and I went to sleep. Red cloud. If you want to sleep, where can you pay for your life? Danyan, what kind of life is that? Hong Yun, sister, you are here again. It's not a joke to take someone's life. If you repent again, I will go out to see my wife, and I will send you a brief invitation to make an appointment with him. Danyan. This little bitch knows how to be naughty and shy, how could she be born? Hong Yun, I am so ashamed that I only close my eyes when I go there. Red Chuaying Yun, come and go, the old lady is asleep. Dan Zoka, Hong Yun, although my sister is strong in words, her steps are already good. Xian Lu dignity is good because my sister Jade has spirit and beautiful appearance. I think about it all day and night without interruption. A sincere heart covered up the lies. Leave the painting pavilion and go to the study, leave Chuxiu and go to Gaotang, learn to steal jade and try to steal incense. Wu Yi daughter, King Xiang of Chu. King Chu Xiang dared to be on the balcony first. Part 2, the fourth book, the first fold, Mo's Hang Yun, the slip left. King Chu Xiang dared to be on the balcony first. Part 2, the fourth book, the first fold, Mo's Hang Yun, the slip left by the matchmaker yesterday made an appointment with Shaoxing to be fulfilled tonight. It's morning and evening, but I haven't seen you yet. Miss, don't lie to us. A good night in the world is quiet again. Will the beauty from heaven come? Xian Lu, Dian Xiang lips, standing on the leisure steps, the fragrant mist fills the golden world in the late night. The cool and unrestrained study is boring for readers. Hunji Anglong, where are the colorful clouds? The moon is as bright as the moon bathing the tower. Will the beauty from heaven come? Xian Lu, Dian Xiang lips, standing on the leisure steps, the fragrant mist fills the golden world in the late night. The cool and unrestrained study is boring for readers. Hunji Anglong, where are the colorful clouds? The moon is as bright as the moon bathing the tower. When the monk returned to his Zen room, crows were noisy in the pagoda tree. The wind rustles the bamboo, and the golden pei rings. The moon moves the shadows of flowers, and it is suspected that a beautiful woman has come. The mind is hanging over the eyes of the industry, the emotions are rushing, the body and mind are at a loss, and there is nowhere to arrange it, then the child is just waiting at the door. Yu Yu expressed his trust in Wan Yao, and the yellow dog sounded good. At 12 o'clock every day, the young man never let go of his lady. You know that? Oil gourd, I feel dizzy and my eyes are tired. I sleep on my side, and my dream's soul flies into the balcony of Chu. If I had known that Wu Minji would be harmed by him, would have thought that it would be better not to meet the beautiful woman. If you have made a mistake, you must blame yourself and don't be afraid to correct it. But I wait for the wise man to change his color, to be a warning. How could he not be so interested in it? I just leaned against the door with my hands on my chin, but it was hard for me to guess. Are you coming or not? The wife's travel material should be difficult to leave. The more eyes you see, the more narrow your mind is. It makes your enemies uncomfortable to care too much. Well, I won't be here sooner or later. Could it be another lie? Na Zhaoling, if he is willing to come, he will leave your house early. If he comes, he will be born in a poor house. If he does not come, he will be like a stone sinking into the sea. Counting people's footsteps as I walk, leaning against the window to wait, sending a message to the talented people. Magpie stepping on the branches. He was so evil that he snatched the white woman, but he never kept it in his heart. When he changed his mind, the night went by and the morning came. The air conditioner has been blinking for half a year now, and it's been really hard to bear. If the lady doesn't come this time, parasite grass is planning to harm and prepare to carry it. Thinking about this foreign land and being strong enough to endure the tea soup, it made my heart endure for this abomination, and my sincerity remained intact. I tried to worry about it for half a year in Tiantai, but it took about 10 years to carry the Taiping car. Hong Shangyun, sister, I'll go over there. You are here. Red knocking section, Maoyun, who is it? Hong Yun, I was your mother in the previous life. Mo Yun, is the lady coming? Hong Yun, you took the quilt and pillow, and the lady came in. Zhang Sheng, how can you thank me? Modern worship cloud. It's hard for Shaoxing to express his gratitude in words. Only God can express the repayment of his heart. Hong Yun, if you take it easy, don't bluff him. Hong Tui Dan Ru Yun, sister, you go in, I'll wait for you outside the door. Kneel down at the end of the day. What kind of virtue and ability does Zhang Gong dare to trouble the gods to descend, knowing that he is sleeping and dreaming? Drums in the village. I suddenly saw his disgusting appearance. If a child gets sick, early treatment will be very unpleasant. I have seen my fault before, who hopes to have sex tonight. With the young lady's attentiveness, Zhang Gong should kneel down and worship her. Shaoxing is not as handsome as Song Yu, as beautiful as Panan, and as talented as Zijian, sister. You are so pitiful as a guest. Yuan Heling, the embroidered shoes have just been half removed, and the willow waist is enough to be picked up. She is shy and refuses to raise her head, and only holds the mandarin duck pillow against her. Yun Huan looks like a golden hairpin falling from her head, so it is better to wear her hair in a crooked bun. Shang Ma Jiao, I will loosen this button. Untie the strands. The orchids and musk deer disperse in the quiet room. Bad things will harm people. Why don't you turn around? Shengord, my arms are filled with the warm fragrance of nephrite here. Ah, Wanzhao went to the rooftop, and the flowers in the world became colorful in spring. Arrange the willow waist and take off the flowers. The dewdrops and the peonies bloom. Yuppian, but when you dip it in some sesame seeds, the fish and water will be harmonious, and the tender stamens will be fragrant, and the butterflies will enjoy them. Half pushing and half accepting, surprised and loved at the same time, the sandalwood mouth is fragrant and the cheeks are fragrant. Modern kneeling cloud, if Miss Xie doesn't give up, Zhang Gong will have to sleep on the mat tonight, and he will be rewarded in the future. Danyun. This concubine's body of 1,000 pieces of gold will be abandoned once it is abandoned. This body is all under your feet, don't let it go if you see it one day, causing my concubine to sigh with gray hair. Mo Yun, how dare a young student do this? Finally look at the handkerchief department, backyard flower. Spring flowers are originally bright and white, and they have red fragrant spots and tender colors early on. Danyun. What are you looking at so shyly? And looking secretly under the lamp, with flesh on his chest. The hall is clean, the whole body is full of peace. I wonder where spring comes from. The incompetent Zhang Xiucai is a lonely guest in Ziluok. Ever since he met his lover, he has been thinking about it. He is worried because of the distance. There is no pretense in lovesickness. Xia Fangqing does not take responsibility. Lu Yi'er, I treat you like a sweetheart, and you have stained the lady's innocence. Forgetting to eat, sleep, and feel comfortable. If we are not sincere and patient, how can we be so happy with this lovesickness? I have made love tonight, and my soul is flying in the sky. I went to see your affectionate little grandma, haggard and thin as straw. Tonight is harmonious, but I still doubt myself. The dewdrops are fragrant, the wind is quiet on the leisurely steps, the moon shines on the study, and the clouds lock the balcony. The interrogation makes it clear. I just suspect it came from a dream last night, feeling helpless. Danyun, I'm going back because I'm afraid my wife will come looking for me. Mo-yun, I will send the lady out. Parasite grass has a rich charm and a very bright color. The first time they meet, they can be harmful to others. I just suspect it came from a dream last night, feeling helpless. Danyun, I'm going back because I'm afraid my wife will come looking for me. Mo-yun, I will send the lady out. Parasite grass has a rich charm and a very bright color. The first time they meet, they can be harmful to others. The moment they are gone, they can be strange, and the moment they can see each other, they can be loved. We will meet with Bishacha tonight. When will we untie the Xianglua belt again? Hongyun, come and worship your mother. Zhangsheng, you are very happy. Sister, come to our house. Last singing, evil tale. The spring breeze penetrates the chest, the spring color crosses the eyebrows, but the jade silk in the world is cheap. Apricot face and peach cheeks, riding on the moonlight. Jiao Didihu looks red and white. Going down the fragrant steps, walking lazily on the green moss, the moving place has a narrow bow and a narrow shoe. I lament that Kun was born without talent, but thank Dujiao for his misplaced love. If the young lady does not give up her niche and is single-minded in love, you will definitely make time to come early tomorrow night. Part 2. Fourth book, second fold. Madam leads her to the clouds. In the past few days, I have noticed that Yingying's speech is in a trance. Her thoughts are doubled, and her waist and body posture are different from those in the past. Isn't it possible to do it? The night before yesterday, when my grandma was sleeping, I saw my sister and the matchmaker burning in. Madam leads her to the clouds. In the past few days, I have noticed that Yingying's speech is in a trance. Her thoughts are doubled, and her waist and body posture are different from those in the past. Isn't it possible to do it? The night before yesterday, when my grandma was sleeping, I saw my sister and the matchmaker burning incense, but they didn't come back for a long time. I went to bed at home. Mrs. Yun, this matter is all on the matchmaker. Call the matchmaker. Why is my brother calling me? Grandma knows that you and your sister went to the garden, and now she wants to beat you. Red cloud, yeah. Miss, you are burdening me too. Little brother, you go first and I will come. Hong Huan Dan Ku, sister, something happened. The old lady called me, but what happened? Danyun, good sister, cover us. Hong Yun, mother, you are a hidden beauty, I know you can do it. Once in a while the full moon is covered by clouds. Huafao must be reminded of the heavy rain. Red Sing. Yu Jiao, fighting quails, I will watch you from night to day, but it will last forever. I won't let you hold the rain and carry the clouds, which always makes me worried. You are accompanied by the moon and stars, who will keep you sleeping all night. The old lady has many thoughts. My temperament means that if I don't use clever words and fancy words, I won't be able to do anything. Purple Flower Preface. The old lady guessed that the poor man became the new son-in-law, the young lady became the spoiled wife, and this little bitch became the leader. During these times, my young lady, the spring mountains are low and green, the autumn water is gazing at me, and I don't want to do anything else. Try to tie up your skirt and fasten your buttons. Compared to your old days, you will be fatter and thinner, more energetic and more elegant. Danyun, matchmaker, be careful of anyone who talks back wherever you go. Red cloud, when I go to my wife's place, I will ask, this little bitch. Golden banana leaf. I will keep you in jail everywhere, but who will keep you wandering around like a fool? If you ask about this, how do you appeal? You can ask him for the reason of knowledge. Sister, you deserve to be blamed. What do I want? Teasing order, you. The embroidered curtains are designed to show the effect of preparation. Inverted phoenix dialuin Pepsi has. I coughed lightly outside the window several times, and the green moss froze my embroidered shoes. Today, my tender skin will be whipped with a thick stick. Sister, what is the reason for my being so attentive? Sister is waiting here, I will go over. I said it before. Don't be happy, don't explain, don't worry. Hongjian Madam's section, Madam Cloud, little bitch, why don't you kneel down? Do you know your guilt? Red kneeling cloud, the matchmaker does not know the crime. Madam said, you are talking too much. If you tell the truth, I'll spare you. If you don't tell the truth, I'll forgive you. I'll beat you to death, bitch. Who asked you and the lady to come and go in the garden? Hong Yun, if I haven't gone, who will come? Mrs. Yun, Huanlang saw you coming and going, so he recommended himself. Dake, Hong Yun, madam, don't dodge your hand, calm down your anger and listen to the matchmaker. Ghost Santai. When I sat down at night, I stopped sewing, and my sister was busy investigating, saying that Zhangxing's brother had been ill for a long time. The two of us carried my wife on our backs and greeted her to the study. Mrs. Yun, when I sat down at night, I stopped sewing, and my sister was busy investigating, saying that Zhangxing's brother had been ill for a long time. The two of us carried my wife on our backs and greeted her to the study. Mrs. Yun, greetings, what did he say? Hong Yun, he said, the old lady has settled matters and turned kindness into hatred. He said, matchmaker, you go first, teach young lady Quan to fall behind. Mrs. Yun, he is a child, why should he be left behind? Hong Sing. Bald boy, I will use Taoist acupuncture, who will look forward to the yen couple and yin couple. The two of them have stayed together for more than a month. Why do you need to ask why? Holy Medicine King, he doesn't know sorrow, he doesn't know sorrow, and he casts his mind twice. If your wife has a good rest, she will have a good rest. Why bother to pursue her in the meantime? As the saying goes, women are not allowed to stay in college. Madam said, this is all because of you, bitch. Hong Yun, it's not Miss Zhangxing's matchmaker's fault, it's Madam's fault. Madam said, this is all because of you, bitch. Hong Yun, it's not Miss Zhangxing's matchmaker's fault, it's Madam's fault. Mrs. Yun, this bitch pointed the finger at me. How could it be my fault? Hong Yun, belief is the foundation of human beings. If people don't have faith, they don't know what they can do. A big cart has no openings, and a small cart has no bumps. How can it move? On that day when the Japanese army was encircling and rescuing the army, those whom my wife promised to withdraw should be married to their wives. Zhang Xingfei was not in the mood of Miss Mu, so how could he be willing to implement a mere retreat policy? The soldiers retreated to safety, but my wife regretted her preface. Isn't it a breach of trust? Since he refused to accomplish his task, he could only give him gold and silk as a reward, so that Zhang Sheng would leave here. But it is not appropriate to invite Zhang Sheng to the academy, so that the resentful daughter and husband can peep at each other morning and night, so the wife has this end. If the old lady continues to do this, firstly, she will bring disgrace to the Prime Minister's family tree. Secondly, after Zhang's birthday, she will become famous all over the world and she will be kind to others, but she will endure orders and be humiliated instead. Even if there is a lawsuit, the old lady will also be guilty of lax management of the family. The details of the lawsuit will be detailed. I also know that the old lady is disloyal and ungrateful. How can she be considered a virtuous person? The matchmaker didn't dare to be self-absorbed, so she begged her lady for advice. If she could not forgive her small faults and accomplish great things, but remove them to remove their stains, wouldn't it be a waste of time? Ma Langer, Xiuzai is the leader of the article. My elder sister is the leader of the class of ladies. One is proficient in all 3 religions and 9 streams, and the other is proficient in embroidery. Yuppian, when the world is here, just rest and give up. How can a great benefactor become an enemy? Recruit an old friend of General Whitehorse and kill the flying tiger rebels and grass bandits. Luosi Nyang. If Bu Jing joins the Mao Yu business with Zhang Jiayuan, he is making a fool of himself with Cui Xianghua. Madam wants to find out whether it is connected to her own flesh and blood. Mrs. Yun, this little bitch is right. I am not fit to raise this unworthy daughter. Being an official is a disgrace to the family. Stop it. There are no criminals in my family, so my remarried daughter will marry this guy. The matchmaker calls that bitch over. Hong Jian Dan Yun, Qishi's sister, the stick is dripping on my body, I said it straight away. I'm not afraid of much either. Madam calls you here now to get married. Dan Yun, how can you meet your wife if you are so shy? Hong Yun, what are you ashamed of in front of your mother-in-law? Little Tao Hong, the moon had just risen above the willow branches that day, but I had already made an appointment after dusk. I was so ashamed that my teeth were lining the sleeves of my shirt on the back of my head. If you look hard at the season, you can see that the soles of the shoes are thin. One is chattering passionately, while the other is mute. Pooh! How can I not be ashamed of half a star? I was so ashamed that my teeth were lining the sleeves of my shirt on the back of my head. If you look hard at the season, you can see that the soles of the shoes are thin. How can I exalt you to do such a thing today? It is my evil obstacle, no one can blame you. I waited for the magistrate to come and humiliated your father. This is not what I do as a prime minister. Stop it. Who is like my adopted daughter who doesn't make progress? Matchmaker. How can I exalt you to do such a thing today? It is my evil obstacle, no one can blame you. I waited for the magistrate to come and humiliated your father. This is not what I do as a prime minister. Stop it. Who is like my adopted daughter who doesn't make progress? Call the beast from the study. Hongwan Mok, Moyun, what does the little lady call Shaoxing for? Hong Yun, what happened to you has happened, and now madam calls you to match the young lady with you. The young lady has taken the initiative, so you can go over. Mo Yun, Shaoxing is hesitant and afraid. How to meet the old lady? Who said it in the old lady's business? Hong Yun, stop pretending to be careful, just pass by. Yuppian, how can we rest if we have leaked? It's me who agrees with you. I'd rather have wine and tea at my house. Don't worry, why do you need to agree to a media meeting? I gave up the plan and refused to accept it. You turned out to be seeking but not showy. Pooh! You are a silver bullet head. Mo Jian Fu Fu Ku, Fu Jian Fu Ku, Fu Jian Fu Yun, you are such a scholar, don't you hear that? I dare not practice anything other than the virtues of the late king. I'm going to send you to court, and I'm afraid it will disgrace my family tree. Now I will marry Ying to you, but I will never marry a charming woman in white for 3 generations. You will go to court tomorrow to get your wife. I have a daughter-in-law with you. If you get an official position, come to see me. If you are dismissed, don't come to see me. Hong Yun, Zhang Sheng was happy early. A stroke of love, will soon let go of the wrinkled brows, and the beautiful love and joy will just move the head. Since it is possible, Zhang Sheng, the happy mother-in-law Panger who you are so jealous of has to be tolerated. Madam Yun, pack your bags tomorrow and arrange fruit wine. Please ask the elders to send Zhang Sheng to the Chongqing Pavilion 10 miles away. Dan Mian, send a message to the willows on the west bank of the river, and arrange a green eye to see off the passers-by. Exit the same lady, Red Sing. And, when the season comes, the flutes and drums in the hall are played in the spring day, and a pair of luan are lined up to